Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
It's the house!
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Yo. What the hell's... Oh. Hey, how's it going? My mic was like a mile up in the air. Alright. Well, there you go. I think the prosecution only failed miserably if they don't interview Brian Kohberger and get every single detail and put it out in a document so that everybody can see the reality. Other than that, you know, we were talking about it last night. If there's even one person that, like in the family side, it feels like you have to err on the side of the one that doesn't want to have to go through 20-something years of hell. And all they got was, I mean, I'm on the side of Gonzalez. Like, that's what I would want to do. But I can totally see the other side. And also, if the trial, let's say it went to trial, and obviously they would find him guilty. But in the penalty phase, there could be one sucker on there, just like in the Jodi Arias case. I mean, that was obvious. First-degree murder. She planned the whole thing. Traveled out there. Made her hair a different color. Used gas cans so she didn't have to go to gas stations. And went into his house and he killed him. And she killed him. And there was 11-1 for death twice. Because in Arizona, believe it or not, you have to you can do a retrial for the penalty phase. If it's a hung jury. So it was a hung jury on the death sentence, so they have a whole nother trial just for the penalty phase, and they were still 11-1, and so she got life in prison without parole, but has appeals and all this stuff. In this case, there's no appeals at all. So, like, if let's say he had been found guilty, and it was 11-1 for the death, and he would get life without parole. And he'd have appeals all the way forever until, in this case, it's worse than that. So it's right in between death and in terms of the rights for him. So I'm not really, I just think it sucks because he needed to face justice and let the world see all the things that he did. And that's the part that's, I don't know, man. I mean, the judge could have asked all those questions too yesterday. During the hearing, he could have just sat there and asked a whole bunch of questions. Hey, thanks, Laura. Been a bit glad to be back. What does that mean? Been a bit glad to be back. Oh, you mean been gone a bit? Glad to be back? Is that what you meant to put in there? I'm just guessing. I'm using girl code. I think I can figure that out. Now they have to go to court all the different times. There's hearings and, and you'd always be worrying, okay, is that appeal going to work? Oh, shit, okay. And then if one appeal does work, then you have to go to trial again. And then every day you're sort of waiting all those years for the death penalty. Okay, it's been stayed. He's going to do it again. Okay, we're going to wait another year or so. And they're going to wait another year. And then do you really feel better at the end of the day? My thing is I wanted to go to trial so that we could see what happened. all the information. So I think they need to do sort of what, like a coroner inquest, what they used to do, where they put it all out on the table, like in Naomi Arion case, and we all see the facts that they had in the case. Oh, been a bit. Period. Glad to be back. There you go. Okay. But I just think it was lame the way it was done. You know. And by the way, like even Bill Thompson, when he gets up there, he doesn't even have it right. Like every little detail, he didn't say it quite right. You know what I mean? Like that's the part that bugs me, is that a guy like that, he should be so intimate with the information that it would just, there's no chance of saying it. Well, he came in at 4 o'clock and then did a U-turn and then he drove. No, that's not how it went, man. You completely misrepresented that fourth pass. And, you know, it just seems in general it's almost like he was telling the outline like we always say, like those are the bullet points that I came up with. And it's exactly the same thing that we've said over and over and over again. There was nothing Bill Thompson said that we haven't said, other than that, okay, there was a couple different blood types on the knife sheath, and I think that is what we heard, that there was some other blood on the knife sheath a while ago. That's what I heard it one time, and that was it. And then maybe that the phone pinged near Blaine at an intersection. That was new. But other than that, it's been all said. We've said the exact same thing that he said. So wouldn't you think that that hearing would be better for more detail? You know, like actual information of what's inside the house, where you think, what made you think he maybe sat down on a chair, when would that have been in the sequence, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, I like the sentence. To me isn't bothersome. It's the thought of not ever getting to know all of the information. That's what's bugging me. Doesn't that bug you? Like Bill Thompson in that hearing yesterday, though, did say something near the end, like, let's not remove the gag order yet to give us time to get all the information, something like that, to get all the information. And I think what that means is they're going to have their investigators sit down with Kohberger during this interim time before the sentencing and get get his whole statement down. That was probably part of the deal, that they would do it. He wouldn't have to say it, but they would gather it from him and present it in the future to the public. I think that might be exactly what they're going to do. BK is 30. Me, I would take death any day over the next 40 to 50. Plus, he's in a horrendous prison, you guys. I mean, just the freaks. Mike sent me a couple articles today. I was going to go over some of those. Got some other ones, etc. But I think that in this interim time between the plea hearing and the sentencing, investigators are going to be sitting down with Kohberger. They are going to get every single detail from him. They're going to talk to him for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then they're going to likely try to figure out if they can retrieve the K-bar knife, etc. And I know that they're doing that. I mean, I would absolutely believe they're doing that, because you need those things so that it's sort of insurance for the future. Like, for some reason, if some judge in the future said it was not constitutional to not allow somebody to appeal, then all of a sudden you go, okay, he can appeal, but you have in your bag the fact that he led your investigators directly out to where the K-bar knife was stored and gave all the details of the case. But hey, guys, if you're out there, if you want to become a channel member or help support the channel, we just reached the $251,000 given out to true crime related charities, etc. recently, and you guys are what make that happen, along with my ad revenue and everything else. Obviously there's income that supports the channel, and then I give away a tremendous amount. This month we only were able to give 3,000 out because it wasn't as good as the month prior. So if you're watching and you want to help support the channel, that would be awesome. Hey, mom of 3, what does that mean? Come, dude, don't be stupid. Only a stupid person would write, come, dude, don't be stupid. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see, did I hear that even his sister wondered if it was Brian? Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, we don't know if it's true, but that's been reported by, Dateline reported it. I think it was Howard Blum who's mainly saying that, but I think I've seen it other places as well. Yeah, I mean, isn't it weird when trolls come in and they can't spell correctly? That's always weird, I don't know what he's going to hold out, but I don't think they're going to allow him to hold out where the K-bar knife is. However, he could say that he just tossed it in the river, even if he had buried it, and he can claim they just couldn't find it. It was weird. I was watching something, reading something, or it was some article today, or something that was referring back to an old article. Remember that when he was XR dot those with visual snow? This one right here, they said he said something, so I looked it up, and then I found the actual place where all this is. Look at the stuff that he said about himself. I always feel as if I'm not there, completely depersonalized. Mentally, I experience fog, lack of comprehension at times, feel like my life is a movie, depression, no interest in activity, constant thought of taking his own life, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur, anxiety, poor self-esteem, poor social skills, no emotion. I feel like nothing has a point to it. When I get home, I am mean to my family. This started when visual snow did. I felt no emotion, and along with the depersonalization, I can say and do whatever I want. It says, I felt no emotion, along with the depersonalization. I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. Everyone hates me pretty much. I'm an asshole, he said. Yeah, isn't that weird? I mean, right in here, this sounds like a sociopath or something, just crazy. It just sort of popped up on I don't know where I saw that. Might be one of these articles. Oh, okay, here it is. In the New York Post. Alright, you guys, anybody hear what I said a second ago? If you guys could help support the channel, that would be great. We're still just languishing around. No new channel members. No, $4.99. Alright, we need to have the support from the people watching. Alright, here we go. Brian Koberger set to die in one of America's worst prisons with feces smeared, cages, riots, and biohazard ventilation system. I mean, I don't know. Brian Koberger is set to spend the rest of his life in one of America's worst prisons, a maximum security hellhole that faces accusations of feces-smeared cages. Hey, it sounds like a place that Richard Allen would love to go. Brutally violent guards, rioting inmates, and biohazard ventilation system. The 30-year-old convicted killer of 4 University of Idaho students will serve the sentence in the state's most brutal prison, alongside Chad Daybell. Oh boy, that's where Chad Daybell is too. Hey, thanks, Laura. Laura said. Let's see. There was a girl that described a date with him. Yeah, we gone over that. Yeah, we've talked about that many times. She said you have nice birthing hips. He said that, I mean. Actually, just heard that. Said today I watched the Dateline documentary again, and I watched the new one that came out on Peacock as well. I watched that one. That's not as good as the Dateline one. I like the Dateline one because it's pretty close to trying to go through factual information, or at least things that they believe. What's going on over here? Wild fight shows New Jersey passenger getting pummeled. Let's see. The 30-year-old convicted killer, and thanks, J-Love. Okay, and then, yeah, the same prison as Chad Daybell, the child murderer and husband of Doomsday Cult mom Lori Vallow. Idaho Maximum Security Institution, IMSI, where Koberger is expected to be sentenced to life in prison, opened in 1989 and hosts the Gem State's most disruptive male residents and violent criminals. Oh, man. I just don't know how well he's going to do in there. Since then, it has developed a reputation as not just the toughest prison in the state, but one of the harshest in the nation. IMSI was named one of the 15 worst prisons in America by Security Journal Americas in 2024, alongside other infamous institutions, including Louisiana State Penitentiary, aka The Farm, San Quentin in California, and Attica Correctional Facility in western New York. The magazine highlighted its alleged harsh treatment of inmates, excessive use of solitary confinement, and lack of mental health resources. Violence between inmates and allegations of excessive force by correction officers were also brought up, as well as overcrowding leading to a tense and volatile environment. And that's just so not what he wants to be part of. He's a loner. Like, he wants to basically sit in a corner and have nobody talk to him. Now, what he said was, in that story, we don't need to really find the story, because we already know what the story is. They met on Tinder. It was like a Tinder date. And they came back to her house, and then he started tickling her and stuff, and then she says, "Why are you touching me?" And he goes, "I wasn't touching you." And he was trying to she said he was trying to gaslight her into not believing that he was actually trying to touch her. And then she said she had to go to the bathroom. So on the way to the bathroom, he followed her all the way to the bathroom when she had to go to the bathroom, and she thought that was weird. So inside the bathroom, she started to fake like she was throwing up, and then Koberger eventually just left the house. And then he texted later and said something like, "Hey, I had a good time, and you have nice birthing hips." That's the story. I don't know why that's funny. Think of what I said. You have nice birthing hips. And then you look at that face right there. This guy, what a... In 2016, the newly appointed director of the Idaho Department of Corrections looked to reform the state's use of solitary as punishment. Many of the inmates were locked away in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, KBOI reported at the time. This meant little to no human interaction, food in cells, and only showering 3 times a week, a pattern some inmates live under for decades. 97% of these guys are... Look at these little solitary confinement cages. At least they do have a chair and a little thing you could read a book at, I guess. 97% of these guys are going to get out and walk into an Idaho community, Kemp told KBOI. If we treat them like crap, if we treat them like animals, they're going to walk out of prison like that. God, he's going to have to be, he's going to be in that for the rest of his life. In particular, he highlighted the dangers of excessive solitary confinement for inmates. You do that for 10 or 15 years. You've created a monster out of that person. Man, imagine that they're 40. Koberger, 30, who on Tuesday pleaded guilty to killing 4 University of Idaho students in their Moscow home while they slept in November 22, had been held in maximum security at Ada County Jail in Boise since the trial has moved to the state capital. I'm going to do something with this picture. She's not a millionaire. She's not a millionaire, my Vespa. That's ridiculous. Let's see. And let me see if I'm gonna try to take this picture right here and make him look older. Let's see if I can do it.
Sure, I can.
All right, let's see. Hold on. We'll see what happens. I'm just gonna try to turn that same picture, make him look 40 years older. Let's see what happens. Hope he gets a welcome to Idaho prison. All right, we're having one of those lulls again, you guys. If you're out there, if you could please help support the channel. We're currently at 1/10 of a nightly goal, so it's always good to just kind of keep flowing through the night. That's how we make. See, the thing is, there's people that watch the channel that haven't been here before. We try to raise funds that help keep the channel alive, and we've donated $251,000 since January of 2020. And because we have a lot of side things that we do. We have Texas Equisearch, Rain. You should see this picture coming up. Micmac DNA fund that we've put $104,000 into, and also a scholarship fund. But this picture looks pretty funny over here. I'll show you here in a second. Yeah, this does. This should make you feel a lot better. This is a nightmare for him. Man, that's no walk in the park. And he's going to want to be quiet. And people, look at this. That's him, man. That's ChatGPT turning Brian Koberger into 70 years old in prison. There he is, you guys. Poor guy. Yeah. I was using this picture right there. See, the ears are sticking out, etc. We've gone over the John Bonet thing about 10 times. It's just a circular argument over and over and over again. Did we already read that? Yeah. This was his whole post over there on Tap Talk XR, and he's got 118 posts in there. See all these? You know. People have gone over all of them. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so this is something that just came out. Disgusted, Brian Koberger's former friends, peers react to guilty murder plea. Hey, looks like Jessica gifted a membership. Thank you. Childhood friends of Brian Kohberger, who pleaded guilty Wednesday to stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death in November of 2022, have tracked his murder case from afar and said they felt shocked. The former Pennsylvania resident suddenly agreed to a plea deal to spare his life. I won't lie, I kind of spiraled yesterday, Casey Arns, 32, told the Idaho Statesman in a text Thursday. Did he ever have thoughts like that before? Did he ever think that he wanted to kill me or my friends? Were we spared because we were friends with him? Arntz, I don't know, I think he just killed Madison Mogen because she was like the classic girl that he could never get. She represented the girl that he could never get. That's why he picked her. What? As Kohberger got into drugs, I don't know what you wrote there, Carol. Can you rewrite that? As Kohberger got into drugs in high school, they said a distance developed. Kohberger later overcome a heroin addiction, with the sporadic exception they hadn't spoken in years, which made his arrest at his parents' Pennsylvania home in December 2022 so startling. He had been their awkward, chubby teenage friend with heightened ability to observe and wit to match, they said. Now he was accused of killing 4 students on the other side of the country in a nationally known investigation that unimaginably ended in their hometown. The victims were Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, both 21, and Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, both 20. Each suffered multiple wounds in the attack at an off-campus home on Kings Road in Moscow, Latah County. Prosecutor Bill Thompson told the court Wednesday. The allegations floored them then, and similar emotions rushed back this week after Kohberger, 30, admitted he repeatedly stabbed the 4 college undergraduates with a large fixed-blade knife that prosecutors said he bought on Amazon in March of 2022 while living in Pennsylvania. He also bought the balaclava in January of 2022. Kohberger brought the knife and K-Bar brand leather sheath, which he left behind with his DNA at the crime scene. Now, yesterday, I thought it was interesting because Bill Thompson didn't say that he left it accidentally. He said he left the knife sheath for some reason, something like that. And so that opens the door for my theory, where I think he left it there intentionally as a calling card. And they didn't rule that out by the wording that he used. On Wednesday, Kohberger pleaded guilty to all 4 counts of first-degree murder and a count of felony burglary to avoid a possible death sentence at trial. He agreed to a maximum sentences for each, which is likely to see him spend the rest of his life in prison. I mean, this one person on this other show, I think it was Nancy Grace or something, it was like, so that he might get out in 40 years then, because it's 40 to life on those murder charges. No, dude, he's not getting the minimum on any of those, all right? Whew, man, it's just unreal. Kohberger will have no chance of parole, and he can never file an appeal according to the terms of the agreement. A sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 23rd. Donna Yazwiak, Kohberger's high school guidance counselor, reacted with surprise. Actually, I was hoping that he was not the murderer who killed these 4 students. But did you follow the case? You knew he was the murderer, right? Or were you watching the clown and the UK guy and the other wackos out there? She said in an email to the Statesman, I hope that this family will survive this horrendous ordeal and be able to get on with their lives. I also hope that the victims' relatives gain much needed closure and heal after the tragedy. As a society, we may never know the motivation for the murders or if Brian Kohberger has any remorse for his violent actions. Let the inside deal with them. Oh, look at that. That's what we were talking about. Kohberger's admissions in court finally put any question of his culpability to bed for Jack Bayless, 31. Well, it should be for everybody. Is there anybody out there, really, I mean, honest to God, is there anybody out there that thinks that he was coerced into confessing and he really didn't do it still? He's just saying that he did it. Because if you really believe that, then you're a stupid person, okay? And I'm just being honest with you. You might want to go back to school, take some classes, learn about logic and reason, those kinds of things. Kohberger is the killer. He's been the killer. And if you're still sitting there wondering if he really is, then you have something physically and technically wrong with your brain. All right? And if I was you, I would check myself into a facility as quickly as possible and see if you can get some treatment on that. Let's see. You wouldn't plead guilty to it unless you did that. Well, there you go. He said in a phone interview Thursday, if you were framed, you'd be fighting tooth and nail. Kohberger's decision to take people's lives was additionally disheartening, he said, because he had kicked his drug habit and seemingly had a life direction, but the desire to learn about people who commit murder, an area of interest for Kohberger, took hold, and he likely wanted to see whether he could get away with the perfect crime, Bayless said. I agree with that. I think he did it. I don't think it was just the perfect crime. I think he wanted to become the perfect serial killer and was going to continue to kill because he liked it. You know, when he got home, he put that thumb up in the air. Casey Arntz told, let's see. Oh, I guess this was part right here. I think he did it to see what it felt like. Exactly. To experience it. If you wanted to write a paper about what killers feel and why they kill to be accurate, you would have to experience it yourself to truly understand it, Bayless said. To get into the mind of a killer, you have to be a killer, would be my guess. Yeah, I mean, that's something we've talked about on this channel many times. And as a matter of fact, if you guys remember the comparison I've made before, when we were, I'll say it again because there's new people watching, but I've made the same comparison to Kohberger. Well, we were covering the Delphi case years ago, I think about, seems like even in 2017, there was this lady walking down a trail. You see her on surveillance camera, walk by a park bathroom, but just on the trail. She just walks by it. And then this Asian guy follows her a few minutes later. And then after that, the Asian guy comes back. And I think he put something in the garbage can, if I remember right. And then the woman never came back again. And then they found her body. She was killed. And then they caught the guy. And they brought the guy in for an interrogation. And he said he admitted doing it. He wasn't even just, yeah. And they go, well, why'd you do it? And he goes, I don't know. I just wanted to see what it felt like. You know? Isn't that scary as hell, you guys? I mean, there are people just like that out there. I mean, that's Kohberger's different than that, but I think that's part of what he was doing. But he was more like a planned out, thoughtful attempt at it, where this other guy just sort of did it. Are you guys even paying attention? Seems like every comment's still about something else other than what I just told you. Casey Arntz told the Statesman she had conflicting emotions about how, after 2.5 years of legal proceedings, her former friends acknowledged he was responsible for the early morning quadruple homicide. Perhaps the most talked about crime in Idaho history. She felt the victims' families, especially those upset that the death penalty was no longer an option with the plea bargain, but welcome the case. This is Idaho Statesman, I think. Let's see, by Kevin Fixler. So what's going on with the massive lols in the chat, you guys? What's happening? I'm disgusted that he could actually do something so heinous, she said. I understand why the families are so upset. They were starved for justice, and I would 100% be too. However, there was never any guarantee that he'd be given the death penalty. So I think him taking the plea deal was better for everyone. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If he was found guilty, but the jury did not give him the death penalty, then all he would have got was life without parole and the ability to appeal many times. So he got something worse than that would have been, which is a very highly likely scenario. There's a lot of people out there that, even though they say, yeah, I can vote for it, they won't go that extra mile to, you know, they'll fall on their sort of internal belief system and not give the death penalty. Although this is one case that you would think most people would vote for that. He's locked up for life. Let the inside deal with him. Thomas Hart's 29 shared his sister's sentiment. The result, Wednesday, removed any chance his childhood friend could be acquitted and get away with murder, he said. I personally feel relieved that the acceptance of the guilty plea, Arndt told the Statesman, adding he would pray for the 4 victims' families. I am deeply sorry that Brian's parents have to live with this as well. I've always thought they were kind people, and they didn't deserve this. And for Brian, God have mercy on his soul. He was kind of non-existent. For Ben Roberts, 33, a former criminology graduate, college school colleague, Koberger at WSU Wednesday, guilty plea felt past due. The U.S. justice system is built upon the belief that a person is innocent until proven guilty, he said. And yet his former classmates' DNA at the crime scene with no other suspects strengthened his own suspicions. Still, Koberger's arrest left him horrified, he recalled. What surprises me at this point is that it dragged out so long, as I thought that a plea deal would never be reached. Robert told the Statesman by phone Thursday, my general impression was he was not going to stop fighting it, and to all of a sudden have this about face was very surprising. I don't think it was all of a sudden. I think Ann Taylor tried to convince Koberger to do a plea deal a long time ago, like a year ago, because she saw what the reality of this case was. She had the information. And she sort of, did all of her due diligence, but with half-assed, just filing this and filing that and extended it out. And then I think about probably 2 or 3 months ago, she probably talked to him again and said, we're running out of options. I think it's very likely you're going to get the death penalty, and now that they've changed it to a firing squad, that's likely what's going to happen to you, unless we cut a deal. And he's probably still like, I don't know, can we? And she goes, well, we got a couple more tricks up our sleeves. We can try to extend the trial, we'll look for, the alternate suspects, etc. And then they got sort of a gift when Dateline put that out, and they thought, okay, cool, we can use that. We need to remedy this and give us some more time. But the Judge Hippler, denied both of those things. The alternate suspects and the continuance of the trial because of Dateline and a remedy for that. So that was all thrown out, and right when he made the ruling as well that the trial was likely going to go when scheduled, you could see them look at each other in the courtroom, Ann Taylor, and he looked over it, and that's even when first time you even see Koberger's face make a face. I think that at that moment, right after that hearing, that's when she said that they all realized right then they're out of options. And that's when they worked behind the scenes, the defense did, with Kohberger to tell him what he's going to need to likely do. And, you know, they obviously probably started off with life without parole with some other options, and then the prosecution probably said, no, we'll give him life without parole, but he's not going to be able to appeal, and he'll never have a chance to get out. And I think him wanting to save his own life, eventually, right at the end there, he said, okay, I'll do it. That's how it went. All right. But hey, guys, we're still stuck on 10% of reaching the channel goal tonight. So if you're watching the channel, my channel relies on the generosity of the people watching the shows, because there is no ad revenue on these live streams. Very little, you know, like if you make $8, that's it, right? So, so when you're watching, if you like my channel and you think I do a good job, if you could consider supporting the channel, become a channel member, gift channel memberships to other people. There's a whole bunch of people here that aren't channel members, but I need your guys' support, all right? I'm not sure what makes tonight different than another night. Let's see, at least there was a very pathetic attempt. Now, there was never really an alibi attempt. They never gave an alibi. They never once gave an alibi. There wasn't even an attempt at an alibi. It was just saying, well, he sometimes goes to a park. Didn't even say what day it was, didn't say anything. I don't know what that means, chickbait. You type in some really stupid things sometimes. Hey, Gray, do you remember the case in Idaho about Shasta Groen and her brother being kidnapped and her family murdered? That was horrible. No, I don't. Yeah, he never said he was stargazing. All he said was he likes to go to Wawawe Park and stargaze. They didn't say what day or anything. I mean, if you go back and read it, it's so ambiguous, it doesn't even mean anything. Hey, thanks, Mallory Beavers. And if you make another comment like that again, chickbait, you won't be around. All right? Looks like Huck Karinsky got a channel membership. Robert spent several weeks just a few desks away from Kohberger in days leading up to the close of fall semester. Just days and weeks after the murders, his graduate school classmate rarely exhibited much in the way of emotion around him, but also did not necessarily set off any red flags, he said. I noticed that unless he was deliberately trying to put up an appearance, if he didn't have the mask, he was kind of non-existent or hollow, I guess, Robert said. It's kind of like you're staring into an abyss. There's something human supposed to be there, and it isn't. I mean, he looks like that when you just look at him. And the reason, by the way, you guys, that I try to get these funds in here is because this is what at the end of the month, that's how we're able to give thousands of dollars away. All right? So it's not, I don't know why it's a struggle tonight. The court does not have to abide by the sentencing agreement you and the prosecutor have outlined. Do you understand? Yeah. Oh, well, no, what he meant was he doesn't have to give him, I don't think he meant like he could go give him the death penalty. I think he meant like he's already at the max. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you might have a good point there, because it was interesting how he said, do you understand that you're already kind of at the maximum, but I'm not required to, you know. So there's only one more step to go, and that's the death penalty. So that's interesting. You know, that's interesting. That's a good point. Doesn't channel membership count? Yeah, but I want people to gift memberships to other people So the other people, yeah, at the end of the month, I use channel memberships, ad revenue, super chats, etc., and I generally try to give away like 33% of the gross income that comes in to away for various true crime related charities. Is that okay, Caligal 3? Or let's see, he cannot give up the death penalty. Yeah, that's right. He can't give him the death penalty, but that's kind of interesting how he said it. I think the death penalty is off the table. That's what the plea deal is, so he can't do that. I think what he's saying is he could give him something less if he wanted to, but he won't. Yeah. I just thought it's kind of interesting the way he worded that, but yeah, he can't give him the death penalty. Right. I'm not sure what that even question was about, Caligal. Like, doesn't it count? I mean, who was even talking about that? You hit the nail on the head about BK. Hey, thanks. Yeah, and if you were somebody who'd been watching this channel this whole time during this case, you would not have been, nothing Bill Thompson said, you would go, wow, this is so crazy. We got to know. This is weird. We've been saying the same exact thing in order, the same information since then. Okay? I mean, for like a year and a half. I mean, it's crazy. And even the part about the car driving around, we already knew that. You know, because we've had the Linda Lane footage, which basically tells the story. You just didn't know exactly how it moved around behind, but he didn't even mention that, Bill Thompson. Didn't even talk about that. And you know what's weird is he never mentioned that either. Like, he never mentioned. And, you know, like this new documentary that came out, they have the car. You know what they do, you guys? They have the car turning. I'll show you. It's just so stupid. This new documentary on Peacock, they have the vehicle. I don't know if you can see this very well, but thanks, Dave Crawford and Austin Huber. Really hope that when the gag order is dropped and info comes out, we can find it if they have evidence linking BK to Papa Rogers. Yeah, I mean, as soon as they drop that gag order, you guys expect like News Nation and all these people to have the contacts to get the real stuff. Yeah. And if you're wondering, Caligal 3, the income from channel memberships on this channel is not high. You know, it's like maybe, I don't know, 2,500 or something for a month, and we donate 5,000 last month. So, you know, how does that work? There hasn't been new info come out in the last 2 years. Yeah. There's been a lot of new info that's come out in the last 2 years. You know, for example, the precise timing of different camera shots. The timing of different camera shots. You know, a lot of stuff like that. Tons of information in those documents. The text messages, the 911 call. A lot of information has come out in the last 2 years, especially in the last 6 months. Tons of stuff. But the general outline is, yeah, so anyways, on this documentary that came out, they have the car come in like this, and then it turns going up this side road here. Because they don't know, these people, the people that work at Dateline and the people at NBC and everything, they don't realize that there's actually footage back here where the car comes around and turns around. Do you notice on Dateline they didn't show any of the Linda Lane footage at all? They didn't show the car coming back here and doing a 3-point turn and then going back this direction and doing a 3-point turn. They didn't show any of that. And so it's weird to me that, you know, that like we on this channel, we have it all like completely nailed in where it's crystal clear. I've made videos after video with animated. I have an animation where I have the whole map and a 3D car moving around as the Elantra showing everything. But those videos get like 10,000 views, and what that means is that the majority of the people following this case do not see any of my videos. My videos are the best videos on the case by a mile. I'm not shy to even tell you that. I've seen the other ones. They suck. This one absolutely nails it. I mean, not this one right here, but I have 100 videos that are just like, it's incredible, man. And it's just weird to me. Like, you got these people going, yeah, I've never watched your channel before. And they're in these big Facebook groups regarding the case. I've never watched your channel. Well, how come? Like, what? How did that happen? You know? I mean, it's just bizarre. I have no idea. I mean, it must be YouTube. They just don't put them out there. I mean, you guys have seen the animation of the actual crime itself, right? Put a 1 if you have not seen the 3D animation of the actual animation I've made of Kohberger attacking the victims and following them through the house. There's probably people in here right now watching that have not seen that. I don't know, it's just really frustrating. Let's see. They're letting him get away with prolonging the whole process. Yeah, well, go on my channel and go back a couple videos and see it. It's just unreal, you know. Make yourself available for gifted memberships. Click on to join. We also have to have people gifting memberships. We've only got 2 gifted memberships. We're still at 1/8 of the goal. The timeline is way better. I'm not sure what that. Yeah, I have a timeline. I was going to go over that. I don't know if I think maybe on one of these shows coming up, I'm going to keep covering the case until at least the sentencing, and then I'm sure information is going to start coming out, and then we'll have to get all that put in there. Yeah, we already knew that, though. Back pain forever, yeah. That's what I made my video about. The animation has it in it. But I tell you what, that documentary, the new documentary on Peacock, whoever made their 3D model did a great job inside. I mean, it looked like it was almost real. It was crazy. Robert spent several weeks, just a few weeks away from Kohberger in the days, a few deaths away from Kohberger in the days leading up to the close of the fall 2022 semester, just days and weeks after the murders. His graduate school classmate rarely exhibited much in the way of emotion around him, but also did not necessarily set off any red flags, he said. I noticed that unless he was deliberately trying to put on an appearance, if he didn't have the mask, he was kind of non-existent or hollow, I guess, Robert said. It's kind of like you're staring into an abyss. There's nothing human supposed to be there, and there's something human supposed to be there, and it isn't. A casual hunter, Roberts said he felt bad in the past when he shot and killed a deer. He said he couldn't even fathom stabbing a person to death. I just can't even begin to get inside the head of somebody who could do something like that and then attend class like it's business as usual, Robert said. That's just completely alien to me. He just looks like just a weirdo now. I mean, where are the girls still drooling over this guy today? Look how weird he looks. My God. One thing for sure, we know he can hear really well in front of him. I mean, when you have ears that go like this, you know, you can do it's like a radar. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Natalie. What does that even mean? I'm just saying, you know, when we're going over the... What are you talking about, Natalie? People talk about all kinds of stuff in here. I have no idea what you're talking about. What I don't like is when we're talking about a case and then everybody in the chat's talking about something that somebody randomly brought up about something completely unrelated. And it feels like, you know, when a comedian's doing their show and then there's somebody in the front row and they're all talking about something else and they're not paying attention and just, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's what it just sucks, you know. And I think you would realize that if you were on the other end. Yeah, and these other YouTube, if you're talking about other YouTube channels, I don't want you to bring up other YouTube channels because I'm telling you that 95% of the ones that you think are good are absolutely horrible. Okay? But you think they're entertaining and cool, so you watch them. And that's cool, but I don't want to talk about them in here nor give credit when I know that a lot of the stuff that they say is inaccurate. All right? Thank you. The timeline lets you know how much extra time. Yeah, I mean, I have a timeline of the full event. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. Right there. Look at this. I mean, it's huge. You know, like it goes through and minute by minute, even all the text messages are in there, right there. Look at all these ding, 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 ding. And it goes through and, you know, I don't know if we've ever done a show where I went through the entire timeline. I know I've done ones where I've gone over parts of it, but it's amazing. My timeline here shows you how long on each of the passes that it stopped behind the house. And the purple here is actually the DoorDash driver key fob beeping sound. I think that's what that is. Well, it's pretty obvious, Natalie. I don't understand what's confusing to you or why you have to ask so many questions and keep typing and typing and typing like it's so, you know. Anyways, Robert said he did not watch Wednesday's change of plea hearing. He didn't want to hear Koberger's voice or see his face again. Even though the latter has been difficult to escape the past 2 years, he noted he was glad the high-profile case finally came to an end and without the need for a month-long trial. And it wasn't, yeah, months long. Yeah, it's going to be like 3 or so months. The first thing I said was that it was about damn time that the poor thing was put to rest. We will heal. For now, the court's gag order in the closely watched case, which restricts attorneys and their agents, including members of law enforcement for the state, is still in effect. Thompson asked that it remain so through sentencing, which Koberger's defense did not oppose, but he also worded it like, I think he said like we need to get all the facts together before sentencing. You remember that? I don't hate you, Natalie, but you've typed like 50 comments in a row related to the same topic. What the hell is a gigawatt? Jim said.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
There you go. The University of Idaho released statement this week afterward broke that Koberger planned to change his plea to guilty. We keep the families of the victims in our hearts as each deal with the outcome in their own way, the state's namesake university wrote in the statement. We will never forget the 4 incredible lives taken on King Road. They are forever Vandals, and each holds a place in our Vandal family. Since that fateful day in November 2022, our university has become stronger, more intent on its purpose, and more supportive of each other. And while we will not forget, we will heal. Let's see. After Wednesday's hearing, one main question remains for everyone, including the victims' families. Why? Why did Brian Koberger choose to take these 4 young lives? I mean, I think it's the responsibility of Bill Thompson to get this information from Koberger. I believe, as I said earlier, that they are, during this 3 weeks here, they're going to be questioning Koberger with the investigators to completely document everything that he says he did, where he put the K-bar knife, why he did it, and everything. And at some point, we'll get to know those answers. And that's what I think they're doing. If Bill Thompson and the investigators are not doing that, then they are piles of crap, okay? That means they didn't give 2 shits about the families or anybody else. They were just like, ooh, let's button it up, yay, and then just move on. All right. And this is Madison Mogan's family. They said, our family continues to ache for Maddie, and we have spent well over 2 years grieving and focusing on healing from the trauma of losing her. The plea deal, the prosecution. See, I feel for the Mogans. This is why I understand the other side completely. You know, the plea deal the prosecution has proposed is one that punishes the perpetrator of his horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these 4 young people, let's see, it allows all of us who knew, I think they need to be a comma in there, all of us who knew and loved these 4 young people the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, years of appeals and potential for mistrials along the way. We thank Bill Thompson and his team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. May we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community and focus on joy. Please do an act of kindness in Maddie's honor this week so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Yeah, see, the other side is that some of the family members, it's just been already brutal for them, and to know that then there's going to be a trial, and they're going to have to see the horrendous, wounds and things like that their children got, and then, if he's found guilty and given the life, death penalty, then my God, there's appeal after appeal after appeal, and then you're waiting for years and years and years, and you're always constantly, it's like a missing person that never comes home. You're always antsy. This one here, for them, so if they were all, this is how I look at this, if they were all unanimous that they all wanted to go to trial to seek the death penalty as an option, then I'd be 100% for it. I actually would be. That's what I would prefer, okay? However, if there's even one family member that doesn't want it, then I think it's better, and you could do this kind of plea deal, then you sort of have to err on their side, because you're forcing somebody without them wanting to spend the next 25 years in hell themselves instead of moving forward. If you chose to do that, then if they all chose to go for the death penalty, then that's what their choice is, and they're choosing to go through all of that process for the 25 years. But if somebody doesn't want that, I think you have to err on their side. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird, but what are you going to do? Force them to have a shitty 25 years? I mean, it's going to be bad anyways when you lose a child, but at least they can sort of try to recapture their life again at some point. So that's kind of what I'm saying here. But I'm on the side that if that was my kid, I'd be on the same side as the Gonzalezes. But I totally get it. You know, imagine you being the one that didn't want to have to keep going through it, and you're forced to do it. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, I'll ask again, if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, that'd be awesome. We need some channel memberships tonight. We've only got 2 of those, and we're still at like 1/8 of the goal. So, if you guys have the ability to, that'd be great. Thanks. Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger wrote about delusions. See, that's where this is the article that I looked that up, you know. And this is from, that was way back in 2023. And I think I clicked on this because it was in another article. But University of Idaho quadruple murder suspect Brian Koberger allegedly posted in an online forum years ago that he had crazy thoughts and delusions of grandeur. Koberger 28 allegedly posted an online message board devoted to a condition called visual snow syndrome, a disorder that causes someone to see static. Between November 6, 2009 and February 20th, 2012, while Koberger was a teenager, he allegedly made 118 posts on the forum under the username XR. Koberger wrote in May of 2011 that he had depression, no interest in activity, constant thoughts of taking his own life, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur, anxiety, poor self-esteem, poor social skills, no emotion. The post concluded, "When I got home, I am mean to my family. This started when visual snow did. I felt no emotion, and along with the depersonalization, I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse." Yeah, happy 4th of July. I don't know. I think he just probably wanted to be a killer. I don't know if it had anything to do with losing weight or anything. None of the posts viewed by ABC News suggest Koberger's alleged illness made him prone to violence. Really? That's kind of a dumb comment. Went up above. I think it showed that he was like a sociopath up there. I mean, right here, you know, he can say and do whatever he wanted, I thought it said. Anyways. Had a picture of him with the thumbs up. Could have been.
(11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2000).
I mean, we can do the timeline if you guys want. I mean, the thing is, today I was looking up, like it looked like there was this Virginia Beach serial killer that was going on in the 80s, like 79, well, it might have been like 73 to like the early 80s in Virginia Beach. And then I was looking up, you know, maybe this other one that's happening now in Indiana that somebody sent me. But I don't know. You guys seem kind of... This is a really weird night in here tonight. I think, you know, like Steve Gonzalez is, you know, he's just really fighting for, you know, he's frustrated with everything a lot. And I think it probably rubbed the police and investigators the wrong way at some point. And maybe they kind of, and then it sort of fed upon itself. But I really need you guys to help support the channel tonight, you guys. I don't understand we got to keep on moving. If we don't get, we're going to do the same thing as last month. It just got crushed right in the middle there. So I'm not sure what makes tonight different than any other night. I'm here, doing the show, put stuff together. Yeah, he doesn't need to say all that stuff. The judge, you know, I don't understand why, you know, Thompson should have been. I mean, I don't know. They should have probably interviewed Koberger already so that he could give more information out or something. I don't know. The family just wants answers. All that hard work all the people did for his daughter. DeBryan, they were out of the league. Huh? Oh. Fought for him the best way they could. TikToks were vulgar. I don't think they were vulgar at all, man. What was wrong with their TikToks? The hell are you talking about? Jesus, I've seen them. The trial was something for him to focus on too. When you lose, yeah, I mean, I mean, I get the feeling just on my level, you know, I've been building up. I was even in Moscow, Idaho, filming for the case, and that's when I, for the third time, that's where I find out that, oh yeah, there's a plea deal. It's just so, like, I don't know what you call it, just deflating, you know, almost like how tonight feels with nobody supporting the channel. Sort of a really crazy, it just feels like, ugh, you know. Let's see, folks who are uncertain about this plea deal, Google Thomas Creech. I don't know. You don't need to Google that. Always asking for money. I don't even know who that is, idiot. Lisa. Nobody knows who that is. Where are the moderators tonight, by the way? You're going to let an idiot like that? I'm going to get the hell out of here. You know, if my moderators aren't in here getting rid of these troll-ass comments, then I'm not even sure how to do the show, you know, so. Jesus. Hey, there you are. Thanks, guys. Way to get rid of that comment. Why not, mister? I mean, it's just... Masson was his target. The question is why. I became interested in Idaho 4 case when Detective Ken Maines mentioned... yeah, that guy. I don't know about that. He does the sensationalistic crap. I remember during the Delphi case, he put out just completely bogus information, and everybody goes, ooh, this is awesome, and it was so wrong, and I got really frustrated because I knew the information. So that's why whenever I know that, here's what I do. Like when I know a case really well with factual information, and then you have a YouTuber that makes a video that is devoid of all the facts and just comes up with a random theory that doesn't use the known facts, then you wonder about all the times that you listened to that person in the past that you didn't know the case and just accepted what they said as truth. So then I just never watch those people ever again, because at that point you're never really sure what they're going to be saying. On this channel, at least you know that I'm going to be using the factual elements, you know, whether they're in, you know, respected news articles, things like that. What does that mean, Walker? Thanks, Laney Carter. And by the way, Lisa, that was only 2 members tonight. Well, you got 30 last night, 30 the night before. I'm just trying to figure out what makes tonight different. The glove found is, I think, a bogus story. There's actually a YouTuber that showed video where the glove showed up after, 2 days later, and lo and behold, a YouTuber just sort of, it plops down on the ground right there. I just don't think that glove has anything to do with anything at all. Don't worry about the glove. Okay. He was snapped along before any interaction with Maddie. Yeah. Anyways, you guys want to go over do the whole timeline? I can do that. Start from the beginning, go through the whole thing. It might be kind of interesting. I mean, it's pretty crazy when you actually see it all together. Yeah, I just don't think that was a legitimate find of a glove, you guys, especially by the person who found it. The same person who said Brian Laundrie was still alive, and he was a guy on Twitter. And everybody attacked the Twitter person, and they had already found Brian Laundrie's bones, and he still kept claiming that. That's pretty weird. I'm sure you did, Chickbait. That's the way your brain works. It's not very clear. You know what I mean? I just noticed the clown has removed all his... I'm sure he has. I know that the clown probably removed all of his videos because he attacked Dylan and Bethany in about 100 of the videos, and everybody else, because he's a loser idiot. Okay? Was there anything new to the Peacock? Nah, they were just interviewing friends or something. Hey, thanks, Derek. Hey, there's some memberships. You spoke too soon, Lisa. You spoke too soon. Well, I don't know. You wrote a really rude comment earlier, Chickbait, so now you're sort of on a shit list for me. Did anyone hear about Koberger's father at the plea deal looking down and shaking his... No, well, we didn't get to see him on camera. They were off of one of the cameras. You couldn't see him. His dad knew. I think his dad absolutely knew that Koberger was the killer. I think he knew when he went to pick him up. I think he already was thinking that was his kid. The information about Elantra had already come out. That information was out, and he... well, hold on. Let me see something. I've got... this is Steve Gonzalez said regarding... Remember the comment that he made the other day, yesterday, about the plane, the flight? He said they booked his flight after Moscow Police Department were looking for his car, meaning a white Elantra. They know he was involved. Then they lied to the public defender when it was booked. That's what he was talking about. He was not talking about recent stuff like right now. Okay? Hey, thanks, Mallory Beavers. All right. This clown or UK guy, glad. Yeah, that's why I don't say their names intentionally. No, I am not talking about that person, Chickbait. And I just see you're trolling again, Chickbait, because we just said a minute ago we don't mention other channel names, and you thought it would be cool to sneak in a stupid name of. But no, that's not the person. Where are the moderators tonight, man? This is brutal. Mm-hmm. You just did. You just did. Gray, where do you think the black suit and black balaclava is? Yeah, I don't know. Let's look up the. I wanted to see what that is. Like Dick. What's it called? A Dickies suit or something? Or oh, like that, right? So it's probably something like this, right? And they unzipped. Oh, that's crazy, right? Because they can't find that one. So he had something like that, and then he wore gloves, and he had a balaclava on, and then he just unzipped it and kind of like took his shoes off probably and stepped out of it. But he probably did it in a specific order and learned about the order so that he didn't put any blood. I thought it was something like this, a Dickies, something like that. I don't know. Dickies Fleck. Yeah. We don't know, Chris. Sure, it could be there. It could be anywhere. You know. Yeah, I just showed you what it was. I'm showing you a picture of coveralls. Do you see that? That's what these are. It's the one I showed you is a zip-up thing. That's what that is. But it was black, right? Yeah. I don't know. Wait, somebody else bought... Oh, M10, thanks up there. Jeez, I kind of missed that one. I thought that was still Derek Sherman. So, hey, thanks, M10, for the 5 memberships there. I don't think he threw... No, he wouldn't. He would have only thrown something like a knife by itself in the water because it would sink. The clothing, we don't know what he did with it. He did not bring it back to his apartment. So it's possible he threw it in, you know, I wonder if there's a place in Moscow that picks up trash on a Sunday, or not a Sunday, but a Monday. So it was just there for like a day, you know, on somebody's house, out of the way, and nobody would even notice it. Maybe put it underneath this crap that's already in there. You know, I just don't know. No, we don't know, Chris. Yeah, nobody knows the answer to that question. Definitely possible, though. You know, he was down there, and he may have had that with him when he went down to Clarkston, Washington. It was still in his vehicle. Perhaps it seems illogical to do that, but other than that, there's no time really for a lot of time spent getting rid of it. You know, there is 16 minutes of missing time. But if you took the side roads, that's just how long it would almost take to do the drive. So we don't know where he, you know, what day, you know, what time of that day did he get rid of the items. Well, that's what they said, right? He bought it. Didn't he buy the Dick's thing on the Dickies on Amazon too? I don't remember where he bought that actually. Many people, when picked on all their lives, eventually snap. Yeah, that's not him though. He's that's who he is. What made him the reason he was picked on is why he's a killer. You know, that's the thing. That's what I just said a minute ago. And then, but somebody up above said, I said that the Dickies and all that stuff was bought on Amazon, and somebody up above said something opposite. Anyways, I just don't really care, you know, about that much. You know, great. I'm glad he bought it on Amazon. Yeah, and that's what I assumed, that he bought all of his gear on Amazon and had it shipped to him, and just the way to buy it, gets shipped to your house, and he never thought he was going to get caught, so there'd be no way of tracking that down. Oh, Jesus. I doubt it, Chickbait. I think you would struggle, based on the way you talk, to actually meet anybody and have them go out on a date. Let's see. He knew he'd be on surveillance cameras there. Yeah. So what? I mean, so what? He's in control freak right now. Freak down. I think, see, my opinion is that he put the K-bar, he left the K-bar knife sheath intentionally, and I hope everybody hopes that that's what he did. Because then that for the rest of his life, he's sitting in prison, as I said yesterday, thinking to himself, God, if I had just cleaned that a little bit better, he'll always know it was his fault. And all of his lessons about not bringing in, transferring something to the crime scene, he failed. His last test, he failed. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Timothy. That's what I just don't believe it. Right. People get picked on and they don't become serial killers. Wait, are you a... I don't even know what you're saying, Chickbait. You're confusing your comments, or it doesn't make sense. Well, read what you wrote above. You said... where was it? Picking up... Oh, I thought you said picking up. Never mind. Picking on people. Never mind. I thought you said picking up people, because that's what we were talking about earlier. His dates. We heard that there were 3 types of DNA under Mogan. Yeah, none of the DNA under the fingernail, none of it pointed to Koberger. We don't know what the container is. That's how she described it. Maybe it's maybe it was just the knife and she thought it looked like a container. I don't know. None of us know what that is. Maybe he'll give us the answer. We don't know. I like to think Kaylee's... I know. That's why people want the knife to be accidentally left there in a battle with Kaylee, so that gives her credit and stuff. I just think it was left as a calling card. So they're wanting it to be for a certain reason doesn't make it true. And I don't know which one it is. I'm just saying, I think I give it like 55% calling card, 45 came off accidentally. But even the prosecutor said he left it there for some reason. That's what he said. He left it there for some reason. Okay, that's kind of an interesting answer, don't you think? To say it that way. He left it there for some reason. That's definitely not like... and it's even saying he left it there. Not he lost it or it fell off. He said he left it there for some reason. That should be interesting. But also, you guys, if you guys are watching the show, if you could help support the channel, I'm mentioning it again because we just seem to have these huge lulls going on and it makes it impossible to reach the goals set for the channel. And we're not even close. We're at 40% still. Yeah. Well, he didn't drive somebody else's. He drove his own. Well, he would have got distracted when Xana saw him. What do you mean after seeing his symbolic appearance? What does that mean? I don't get it. Gray, I heard something today, and maybe you said this, but was Xana's DNA on the 3rd floor? Well, that was said by, it was on the Nancy Grace show, and I think it was, God, what's his name? Jesus. Morgan, God, what the hell's his name, man? That one forensic guy. He said that there was like blood on the stairs or something of Xana, and I don't know where that came from. You know, I don't know where he got it. I listened to it. Yeah, Joseph Scott Morgan. That's who said it. Yeah. Let's see. The reason they know Xana was upstairs is because her cell records show a change in elevation. Well, maybe. That'd be great, because she had her cell phone on and it showed that. Because apparently she had her cell phone on. That's what I have in my animation. Or maybe I'll play that again. There's probably people here who haven't seen it. Yeah, right here. Check it out. It and leave a comment and let me know what you think. That's what I was saying. All right. So we're going to start that animation right now. And right now. Brian Koberger enters the sliding glass door that was routinely left unlocked. He heads upstairs to the 3rd floor to encounter his target, Madison Mogan. Let me know what you think. I'll do it again. All right. I'll get rid of that thing that was on the screen. So we're going to start that animation right now. And right now. There you go. Let me get rid of myself too. I already did. Kaylee fighting back. Dylan right below him going, hey, coming down up there. Xana with the DoorDash bag in her hand, going to the kitchen. But then she notices the sliding glass door open. What the hell is this? He didn't forget it. He left it there intentionally. In my opinion. I'm not going to put the time on it because we don't know the time. This is only like a 4-minute video, so you know, it could be any time during that time. And I don't know the actual, I'm just giving you a representation. DoorDash. No, they wouldn't have parked in the back. That's not, they didn't say, let me help you. He said, it's okay. I'm going to help you, something like that. I'm here to help, or whatever, I don't even remember. It doesn't say what you said, though. All right, everybody. Thank you all very much for... There was. Isn't that cool? Isn't that super chat worthy, you guys? Watching the video. All right. Man, tonight's just like... I'm trying everything to get the show on the road here tonight, but it's just... It's a struggle. Yeah. We don't do names like that. Sorry. You have to change your name, Sofa. We're not going to be... Let's see. A Dylan was so close to him. What's the name of the video, please? What video? The one I just made? I don't know. It's the one that's 23 minutes long. I actually do go through the whole workup to get to that point. You know, I can put it in the chat. Man, what's going on in here tonight? M10, you guys, it's just wild. It's just... Right here. Here it is in the chat. There's the video right there. It's a full long video. You should go watch all... I mean, I have so many videos that are... It's actually really frustrating to me that people haven't seen them. It just makes me, it almost makes me angry. It's like, how did you not see these? You know? It's just crazy. I mean, it shows you all the timing, everything. But we're currently only at 40% of the goal tonight. And I'm trying to figure out a way for people to go, hey, this channel's worth supporting so we can get to... I don't know, man. I don't know. Not sure what to say. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. I was trying to, you know, my belief in real life was that, I mean, like, my own thoughts was that it was similar to what I had, but then I used what Dateline said too, because I thought that sounded like they had a good source that she was upstairs, so I had to add that in. But I've always thought that he said, It's okay, I'm here to help, or gonna help you, to Xana. After she had already been hurt once, but woke up from that. Because you wouldn't say it to somebody when they don't even know what you're talking about. Like, the first time you see him, you go, hey, it's okay, I'm here to help. I mean, I guess he could have been upstairs, and when she saw him, he might have tried to be pretending that he was, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense either. That means he drove by there to check out his handiwork, to see the, either to just sort of look at the house knowing that he's the only person that knows there's 4 dead people in there, or he was hoping that there'd be a lot of law enforcement around there. But I can tell you this, you guys, he did not go back at 9 in the morning to go look for his knife sheath. Okay, that's just completely absurd. It's an absurd thought. At 9 in the morning when people are moving around and bustling around, he would have gone back there at 5 in the morning, or 5:45 or 6, when it was still dark-ish. He wouldn't be going out there at 9 in the morning. He probably thought there'd be just tons and tons of police piled in. Thanks, Ann Taylor's fan club. Yeah, when people, the arsonists, they burn something, they want to sit there and wait for, like they sit around and watch the fire trucks show up and all that. I think that's kind of what he was doing. He was going over there to check it out, or just even to drive by to look at the house from afar. Maybe he was on, I don't think he even made it to Taylor Avenue. I don't know, it's hard to say, but he could have looked over there just a glance and know that he killed 4 people in that house. And then he comes home and does his little thumbs up. Anyways, I'm just going to go through this timeline again, you guys. If you guys want to support the channel during it, it's great. If not, I'm not sure what to say. I've never had a night with that 400 and something people and struggle so severely. So I think a lot. I'm actually thinking there's a lot of those people are the troll channel watching. That's what they do. They create an atmosphere. All right. So anyways, back in January of 2022, he purchased a balaclava. Then in March 20th of 2022. Around that time, the end of March, he purchased on Amazon, and he bought the balaclava at Dick's Sporting Good, and then he purchased on Amazon the K-bar knife, and then I guess after that he bought the sharpener and sheath, apparently according to Bill Thompson. Then on July 9th, that's when the Grove party was. Does anybody know when he actually moved there? I want to put that date in there. Like, what date did Koberger, I know it was in June, move to Moscow, Idaho? Anybody know the date of that? Hey, thanks Curly Lock Diva for gifting a membership. I know it was June. I just said it was June. I'm looking for a date. Let's see. And by the what happened to you're not Cali Gal 3, are you? Like it used to say Cali Gal 3. I know there's a couple Cali Gals out there. Hey, thanks Curly Lock Diva. It says, tip the host for his great work. I know. I mean, that's the only way us live streamers survive is when people are helping. And I just said June. I know it's June, you guys. I want to know the date. Does anybody have the date of it? summer. Okay. I mean, I guess we could just put June. I mean, I guess 6, you know, I don't know. If anybody can find it out there. June 5th. Are you sure about that? Go Beach Escort? Where'd you get that information from? Where'd you get that from? All I know is Washington DMV paper. Okay. I want to know the date. How do you know what Go Beach is? That he went there on June 5th. So he actually said that? Okay. I must have missed it. Let's see. Actually, we can check really quick. Let's go verify it. I did the hearing. Just a second.
Which time?
The knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Koberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Poland.
Nah, you're wrong. It was at the end of June. He never said June 5th. See how you have to check that? I'm just going to say, you know, like June 29th. I like the when you said July 1st up there. We'll go with that. Ish. You know, I don't know the actual date, but we'll just put like, you know, approximate date. Pullman. All right, there you go. Is that cool? So I don't know where you came up with June 5th. Just a second, though.
Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022,
Right there, see?
Mr. Koberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that served.
Right, okay, we already have all that. All right, well, there you go. See how you have to check on stuff? He said late June, not June 5th. All right. But thanks for making me go look. All right, so anyways, July 9th, that's when the Grove pool party was, and he attended that. And then also on June 9th, he started showing up. He was within 100 meters of 1122 King Road. Koberger's phone was in the area 12 times after the party and before early August. And then he showed up more times. And then on July 10th, a woman he met at the Grove pool sent this woman a text that said, "Hey, I'm pretty sure we spoke about hiking trips yesterday. I really enjoy that activity." that activity. You know what? You know when somebody says that, that means they don't ever do it. Like if I said, "Hey, man, I play golf a lot," you know, and somebody responded, "Hey, me too. I really enjoy that activity." I would think to myself, this person has never played one round of golf in their entire life. So the woman he met at the Grove, he sent the woman a text that said, "Hey, I'm pretty sure we spoke about hiking trips yesterday. I really enjoy that activity. And then, so please let me know. Thanks," he said. Then on August 1st, 2022, he was within 100 meters of 1122 King Road. Koberger's phone was in the area 12 times. It was 23 times, I guess, total. And then on August 1st, we just did that. August 16th, Koberger searches Bundy and finds article by Amelie Pendolt or something. Search Ted H7N. Didn't spell it right, but he searched for Ted H7NDY. Then he was probably doing it on his phone, I would imagine. I spell like that when I'm using my phone. And then also on August 16th, Maddie posted an image of all 5 residents. I think that was a different picture though. And then August 16th, and they were just the females. That wasn't the one that has Ethan in it. August 16th, Kaylee talks to officer regarding the noise complaint. So you remember that video where she is talking to the cop on the back porch? That's the same day she posted a picture of all 5 of the residents. Some people thought that Koberger turned in the noise complaint so he could sort of surveil it a little bit, but it was actually a female who called it in. And then 821 Farm Road Perimeter, Dr. Perimeter something Drive. Excuse me, Doctor. Farm Road and Perimeter Drive, Koberger is issued a citation. Then on August 26, 2022, at 1630, that's his apartment. When can a cop detain you? And searched for forced, passed out, drugged, sleeping, Google search. See, this is the interesting one right here, is when can a cop detain you? So I think, I wonder if he was sort of utilizing, like, even if he's driving around that night, could somebody search his trunk or anything, pull him over or anything, if there wasn't something visible that they could see. Hey, Jennifer Markovich, just get over it, okay? Get over it. Dylan and Bethany have absolutely nothing to do with anything, all right? Brian Koberger's the killer. We know that now. Haven't you realized it? I know you're a pro-burger, but haven't you realized it at this point? Haven't you realized at this point that now it's just Brian Koberger all by himself? Please, everybody, let's just use your brains, if you got one. And for those who do have brains out there, if you'd like to help support the channel tonight, that'd be fantastic. We're absolutely struggling tonight for some unknown reason. All right, so anyways, we got the September 10th. That's when the girl, the Korean woman, Na-young Ko, watch and letter are missing in a, then she needs a security setup, and then she starts suspecting Koberger's the one that took those items, and then maybe he's spying on her. Then on September 30th, he does a Google search for sociopathic traits in college students, meaning he, maybe he's trying to see what the traits are and what they look like so he doesn't present them. Then October 1st, 2022, he's near King Road. He's within 100 meters. Phone starts to appear again in Moscow near 1122 King Road. Then on October 14th, he's also near King Road. He's within 100 meters. Completed its 3rd visit near 1122 King Road within 100 meters. And then I think it's and then October 14th, traffic stop, pulled over in Pullman by a female officer during the day regarding claiming an intersection. Then October 19th, near his residence, he Googled, I'm just guessing he's at his residence. Can psychopaths behave pro-socially? Yeah, because that's what he is. Hey, thanks, Kit Kat. Good to see you. And there's this account. The Legend. Thank you. Hey, we got to 50%. Pretty good. Let's see. And then right here on November 7th, we're getting close to the homicides now. Koberger's phone was within 100 meters again of 1122 King Rep. Then on November 10th, he stopped using his debit card. November 12th, Koberger was watching YouTube. And I think he was watching something. Wasn't that the... I don't know if that was the Bundy thing. All right, so then we get to the later in the evening on November 12th. I mean, this is all like really specific stuff. So at 9 p.m. and it's also, and then all the way to 1 o'clock, Xana and Ethan and Bethany at some point are over at Sigma Chi. And then at 9 o'clock, Kaylee posted the picture that they had taken of all five, of all, I think 6 of them. It was Kaylee, Madison, Xana, Ethan, Bethany, and Dylan. And yes, I think I said it all. Said them all. That's that, the famous picture that you see of them all together. That was at 9 o'clock. Then at 10 o'clock, Kaylee and Madison are drinking over at the Corner Club. And let's see. Then at 1:37, Kaylee and Madison, they're leaving the Corner Club. And then at 1:39, they are at the... they're walking on the street past Christ Church. Approximate time Kaylee and Madison and their friend Jack walked by a security camera there. I'm just putting it there. And then at 1:42, they're at 218 South Main Street. That's the time that Madison and friend Jack walked by underneath this camera there. That's the famous, "What did you say to Adam?" The one that Cindy J brings up every time. Hey, thanks, Curly Lock Diva. And then at 1:37, let's see, not 1:37. At 1:43, they're at 318 South Main Street, and Kaylee and Maddie bought some food at the grub truck, it says right there. And then at 1:49, Kaylee calls a private drive service. Then at 1:53, and by the way, I mean, we could look at this. Let me turn off all this crap here. Well, I guess I need to turn it on. Let me turn off this. There's just so much crap over the years. Yeah, so this is all over here. So this is these are those places: Corner Club, the North Main Christ Church. This is the Mad Greek Restaurant, Cafe Artista, and then this is where the grub truck was right there. Then they got picked up and drove home. So then at 1:54, there's actually a video of Kaylee and Madison private drive heading home after dropping them off. I actually have that video. That's one that's not out there, and likely now will never be out there, but I'll show it to you guys. All right, hold on a second. This one right here. Might be this one. Yeah, this one. No, this is earlier though. This is the see that right there, 10:16. That wasn't on any of the special, but it's 10:16 that evening. So that could be like Madison You know, I mean, it's not 10, but it's close to 10 o'clock when they were dropped off over there. So yeah, I guess I don't have the one that's the 150 something. What's going on in chat? We have all these crazy comments. And then 156, the private driver, Kaylee and Madison, are dropped off at 1122 King Road. And then at 2 o'clock, they are actually in Kaylee's room. Bethany, Dylan, Madison, and Kaylee. They're all up in her room. And then Dylan Mortensen sends a text at 2:10 to an Uber driver. So she wants to know if that Uber driver is driving, because I think Bethany and Dylan want to eat the same food that Kaylee and Madison had. And the Uber driver said that he was driving, but then they decided not to take the driver. You know, get a drive and go get food. They decided not to get anything. And then, just 13 minutes after that, Kaylee begins calling her boyfriend Jack from her 1122 King Road residence, but likely lying. I bet you she's lying on the bed with Madison, or just hanging out in the room with Madison in her room. And then at 2:42, Koberger is now, the CAS data shows he's leaving his residence. Isn't that crazy? So, like, here it is, 2:26. Kaylee begins calling her boyfriend Jack, and 16 minutes after that, Koberger's leaving his residence. And then 2:44, Kaylee calls Jack for the 6th time. And then at 2:44, Madison begins calling Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend. And then at 2:44, a security camera shows the white Elantra, suspect vehicle 1, south on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. That's at 2:44. Koberger, he's driving the Elantra. And now we know that 100%. 2:47, the CAS data shows that Koberger's phone is in Southeast Pullman, Washington. So he's just chilling out, doing whatever in that area. And then at 2:52 a.m., Madison calls Jack for the 3rd time. And then 2:52, Kaylee calls Jack for the final time. And then at 2:53, Madison calls Bethany, maybe to say, hey, Bethany, can you try calling Jack? And she's probably like, I don't want to call him. But they were just trying to get him to come over because Kaylee wanted to see him. And then it turns out that, I heard this, that Jack was told by his roommate, hey, don't answer the phone, play hard to get. She always gets what she wants, so he decided not to answer the phone that night. And, that's crazy, because if he'd gone over there, maybe he wouldn't be alive, or, perhaps he would have got lucky and saved everybody. But, it's hard. Well, everybody was drunk that night. All right. So then, 2:53, Pullman, Washington, Nevada Street, and Koberger's white Elantra is seen on camera. Right there on that Nevada Street. And then at 2:54, Southeast Pullman, CAS data, Koberger's phone turns off, and it's it's not at home. Not sure why I put that on there, but his phone turns off. Let me get rid of that. I'm not sure why not at home. Well, yeah, I mean, he's not at home, but that's obvious. So his phone stopped pinging right over here, right there, at 2:54. And it seems like, if I remember right, it was heading this direction. And then I actually drove this route, and look at this, it comes out right on the highway right there. And it avoids any of these cameras in this area. And then he's just on this long stretch, and then he shows up on Floyd's Cannabis Shop over here, which we'll get to in a second. And that's next. So CAS, that's actually the next data point. So it worked for him. See how it says right there at 2:54, South Pullman, CAS data, Koberger's phone turns off. Then at 3:02, it's then spotted on camera, the suspect vehicle 1, is spotted at Floyd's Cannabis Shop, and it takes exactly 8 minutes to drive from that intersection, Nevada and Stadium Way, to Floyd's Cannabis Shop. Like, literally exactly 8 minutes. I timed it. And then there is some crazy, like there's 24 minutes of missing time. And then his vehicle shows up at 787 Indian Hills Drive. And then at 326.35 and 326.43, all three of these, it's spotted at these 3 different spots right on Indian Hills Drive. And that means he drove into town and eventually made his way to right here, where this is 326.10. This is 326.43. This house spotted him. And then also this one spotted the lights on the road up here. All right. So it spotted the white Elantra coming into town. Then exactly, and the precise timing, because guess what? I timed it again. From right here, driving up like this and around, the next sighting is right there. And the precise timing is just in general for all this stuff. I think the timing they have for this is a little, like, it's off by like 10 seconds or something. And I'll show you why, because then it goes 328.56. It's at 1311 Main Street, Koberger's White Elantra. And that is the A&W right there. And then it says just 6 seconds later, it's already being picked up on a camera down the road. And I thought, well, okay, maybe it's picking up from a distance, but then the other camera on the side of the building picks it up 2 seconds later. So that means it has to be close to get that. So like right here, it drives by, and then it comes down, and so I think that one is really, that time on that should be something more like 328.46 or something. And then 320, or maybe this number is actually, 328. I don't know. It's just that's just too bunched up right there. Because this indicates that if it's only 2 seconds, that means this camera picks it up when it's like right there, and then right there, the camera on this side of the building picked it up as it's going around the corner there. But hey, guys, we're having one of those massive lulls again, and it's very, very difficult to reach the goals and make it so that at the end of the month we can help support all the different organizations and our scholarship fund and our DNA fund. So if you guys are out there and you're watching the show and you're getting some entertainment value, just think of me as somebody like a waiter at a restaurant. Maybe you could help support the channel in that way. Other channels don't give a damn because they don't help support anybody, and a lot of times I'm not selling the stuff that people like to donate to. Like, I don't sell conspiracy theories. Those are what everybody goes, yeah, woohoo. Okay, so it's harder for people like me who actually just put out the factual information in cases to get people amped up to support the channel. But I'm asking again because we are mightily struggling, and it really shouldn't be that way. Okay? I don't know. So the car's driving by right there. And I am here. I do exist as a person. This isn't a AI bot talking to you. And then at 329.04, it drove by there, and then that build, I just showed you those ones. I did the 328.56, 329.02, 329.04, then 329.48, which is just 44 seconds later, and it matches perfectly. From right here, the car drives around, and then there's a camera right here on 1320 Linda Lane that films straight down Linda Lane, and the car drives by right there at 329.48. All right, there it is. Hey, thanks, PJ. There you go. See, it was like I was a waiter at a... Yeah. let's see. Then we have, and then at 3:30:22, which absolutely is exactly the right time. See that? That means 12:34 seconds after that, the vehicle is matching the description of vehicle 1 is southbound on King Road. So watch this. It drives by right there, comes down the road, and then it turns in right there. And we've seen, I have a video out there where I show the footage from Dateline that has the exact time of the vehicle coming around doing this. And what they do here, if you're interested, is that this camera right here, see this red line that I have? That's the visual line of sight. The moment you can see a headlight, that's the time that they write down as the time that you see it. In fact, when Kohberger's leaving at 4:20 and 47 seconds, just as it drives by and this camera picks them up, that's the time. So you know that every single time that they're referring to a similar time frame, that's what they're referring to. Yeah, the waiter of knowledge. Apparently that didn't work though. Man, never seen it so tough. And then that was at 3:30:22, and then at 3:30:55, it travels behind 500 Queen Road. We've shown that a million times. Let me see, maybe if should I open up one of my videos, or I don't know. I mean, if you watched yesterday, I showed driving back there. I don't really want to do it. So at 3:30:55, it travels behind 500 Queen Road, and I'll just say these in order. At 3:31, a headlights are briefly shine on the exterior of 1127. So if you look at the timing here, all these loops are similar, and I put the various timing. So you look at 33 seconds from a vehicle matching description of vehicle 1 on King Road turning east onto Queen. That means it's coming in right here, and they use the same time frame on each one of them. The first time is 33 seconds, 32 seconds, and then 31, and so you have those are those first three passes: 33, 32, 31. And then we have it travels behind 500 Queen Road, and then until the headlights hit 11127, it's 23 seconds, 29 seconds, slower, and then even slower, 32 seconds. On the last pass, it's 19 seconds. It was just flying around before it parked. And then this part's probably the most interesting part. Headlights briefly shine on the upper exterior, and then it's seen westbound on Queen Road, heading north onto King. It's leaving now. So that means it was back in the area after the headlights are seen. It's just about to stop, but it's a minute 43 before it's leaving. So that means it stopped for about a minute 20. And this time it stopped for maybe 30 seconds or so. It's 49 seconds, and this time it stopped for 56 seconds. So what we're referring to here is when the vehicle comes around right there, and it comes around, then the headlights end up hitting this building over here. When it's coming around this corner, headlights hit this building. Hey, thanks, Millennial. Headlights hit this building right there, and it's turning while it's doing that. So it's about to stop. All right, and then when it's leaving, it passes right there, and that's what's represented in the red here. So it was a minute 43 after it turned, and then it was heading out. And if you look at it, I mean, if it's turning and it takes a minute 49 to pass right there, well, there's a lot of time on that first pass when it came in that it just sat there. Probably a minute 20 or so. Because after you stop, you pull out, and it takes maybe 8 seconds to get to right there. So, I mean, he's back there a long time. Probably a minute 20 minimum on pass number 1, right? And then headlights are seen south on Walenta Drive. That means after it left here, it's heading south on Walenta Drive back here. That's what all these pins are, different times. It's going back this direction. And then a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 travels south on Ridge Road, turning westbound onto Paradise Drive. And so that is at 3:36. And all these times work really well. So 3:33:01, actually 3:33:36, the headlights are south on Walenta Drive like we just said. And then about a minute 40 later, it is right here. So after it drives around like this, comes around, turns, comes around like this, drives around, and then it parks, or it doesn't park, it goes right down here. That's where we're at. So this is, they call this Ridge Road, and this is Paradise Drive, even though here it says Walenta, but that's what this is. I guess they kind of use both of them. Maybe I should open up one of those ones from yesterday. You guys might think it was interesting. Yeah, it's weird looking at his face now and you sort of picture him. I mean, even when he gets pulled over, that's probably what he kind of looks like, but more like intense. Let's see. These are just these huge 360-degree videos here. I guess we'll just see what happens. It's in the daytime. Look at my face right there. Jesus. Oh yeah, that was perfect. Okay, so here it is. This is going south on Walenta Drive. Okay, just like this. It's right up here. It's going this direction. And that's going to make that little turn there. And that's coming up here in a second. And the headlights could be seen just back where we just were. And you can still see the house. I mean, if you were driving by at night and the trees were bare like they are in that time of year. But here's that turn right here. Here it is. It takes that turn right here. See that? And so now we on the map are kind of driving in this area, and we're going to make sure we're left in a second. So you'll see that here coming up. And here's that staying left. All right, and this is what they call Ridge Road coming up here. And right at the bottom here, see that house and that one right there? That's the one that has the surveillance footage on it. And so it's right here. At 3:35:13, a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 travels south on Ridge Road and turns westbound on Paradise Drive. And then a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 continues westbound on Paradise Drive. And this is that weird one where there's 3 minutes of missing time. See that right there? At 3:35:14 and then 3:38, it's going north on Walenta Drive. So let me show you what's happening. When the car comes down, it turns this way for one of the only times it does that. It comes down and turns this way, And then 3 minutes later, it shows up right there, and there's no way it would take that long to drive. It might take a minute and a half. So there's like a minute and a half of missing time. I mean, maybe the vehicle parked here for a little bit. It's also possible it drove down over here and looked over here at the police station. He pulled in. We just showed that yesterday too. You can see the police station clearly, and then drove back and then back up this way. And that's why he's a little bit, there's 3 minutes, because he may have went to look at the police station there to see if there's any, activity or any, just to monitor it, see what the view looked like at night. I don't know, but there's 3 minutes, and it should have only take maybe, let's see how long it took. It took from heading southbound to Paradise Drive, it took 1:40. So that means after it turned, it should have only taken 1:40 to get back. So we should have been back heading north at 3:36:54 or something like that. But he actually got there at 3:38:12. So there's like, missing time, 2 minutes-ish. But man, you guys, let's get some support for the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel for all this stuff. I mean, I went out there, spent a lot of the money on hotel rooms and everything, and then the freaking the deals cut, man. That was so deflating. It sucked. But anyways, I need your guys' support when I do these shows. And I really don't want to get into this mode where I have to say it over and over and over again. It's just very demoralizing. I hate it. I just need you guys to realize, It seems like I have to say the same thing every single day. It's frustrating. And that's what the trolls love, Oh, look at Gray. He has to say, hey. But all I know is, my channel's given $251,000 out since January of 2020. And the other ones have given 0. So at least I'm making an effort. Yeah. Yeah, it must be really interesting, Kira. And then at 3:38, the headlights are heading northbound. And then now we're back into the area again. A vehicle it's always the same. A vehicle matching description of vehicle 1 is heading southbound on King Road and then turns east onto Queen. So that means in the video that they're watching, it's describing the whole movement of it. It means that when they see it coming in, they see it up here and then going past the camera right there. So right there to there is that time frame. And then it goes back around, and then the headlights again hit the top of 1127 and the vehicle stops. This time, however, it's only 49 seconds before it's leaving again. So likely, since it's only 49 seconds, it probably took 5 seconds to park, and it only takes about 8 seconds to leave. So he's sitting there for 25, 30 seconds or so. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, this account. I mean, I guess there's gonna be some day where we're just not gonna be able to do all those cool things because people just screw it, man. I like just let me just watch. Shut the hell up, Gray. Just shut the hell up. Let me just watch. And it's like, okay, but I need your guys' support. Anyways, then at 3:43:46, after he leaves again, he drives around. He's back on Ridge Road, but he does a U-turn this time, and I'm not sure if that's what I'm doing in the video. Let's see if I do the U-turn. I think I do. I do a U-turn. So this is what it does right here. I have to wait for this girl or whatever she's doing. I don't know. But anyways, that's what the car does. It does a U-turn and then goes back around. So let's see what it does next. After it does the U-turn, and then at 3:45:07, headlights are seen northbound on Willanta Drive. But then what's interesting about it is at 3:45:07, it's going northbound on Willanta Drive. So it's going like this. Comes back and it's going northbound. But guess what it doesn't do? It doesn't go back into the complex over here. It doesn't go in there. And then at 3:45:07, the headlights are seen, at 3:47:08, the headlights are seen southbound on Willanta Drive. So that means for about, it's pretty weird. It's about almost exactly 2 minutes. The car drives by there, and then it comes back 2 minutes later, but does not go into here. So we actually drove, me and Amber, who came with, we drove in like this, and we parked right there, and you can see right at the house. You can see into the same windows and everything as if you were parked in front of it right there through this alley. You can see it. So we think maybe he pulled around, parked in there for about a minute, and then comes back out, and then his vehicle is here again driving south. It's not happening in M10. I've never seen a night like this before, with 400 and something people watching. It's like Jesus. It's unreal. Let's see. And then after that, at 3:48:47, it's back to Ridge Road again. So that timing is very similar. And then it does another U-turn again. And then the headlights are seen northbound on Willanta Drive again at 3:50:27. And then at 3:51:03, Dylan Mortensen creates a new contact in her phone. It's like she's still awake. And then at 3:51:26, which is 59 seconds after the headlights are seen northbound, headlights are seen southbound again. So again, it does not go in. So this time, it must have done something like it drove around like this and just kind of pulled into here and just kind of looked and then went back around this way again. Didn't go into the complex. But they are no out, so I don't know what that means. Headlights are seen southbound on Willanta Drive. This is the one thing I can't explain here. I think this is a different vehicle because it says right here. I think this one is not the white Elantra because they're just looking at lights at this point. This one I think is, and it matches waiting 2 minutes like it did the time before. So if I was going to remove one, it would be this one right here. So let me put like a, some light color like that. I think this one is not, because look at it, it's going southbound twice in a row. That's impossible, right? You'd have to have a north in between. So 3:51:26, headlights are seen south on Willanta Drive. I think that one is just another car. Then this one, they don't know which, because it's just lights. It didn't pull into the complex to have the timing to see. But they also, apparently, they don't see it go by the 1320 Linda Lane camera, so it must still be in the area. Anyways, then at 3:53:36, headlights are seen northbound again on Willanta Drive. So this time, it didn't drive back. Wow, that's interesting. That's almost the exact same time frame. It did that same quick turn. So that means it drove like this and around, and then maybe even right over here, did a U-turn and came back this direction, which is similar to what he does at around 4 o'clock. So there it is. 353 headlights are seen northbound on Willanta Drive. Now he's back. Well, that's interesting, though, right? Headlights are seen northbound on Willanta Drive at 1119 King Road. And that's behind it, on northbound. But then look at this. The vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 is seen southbound on King Road at 356. So that means for 3 minutes after, I haven't really thought about this, but it goes like this. And then it must go into here again for like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Then comes back out, and then he enters into the area. Isn't that crazy? Because it goes right here, and then 3 minutes later it comes into here. So that means it came around, likely pulled into here again and watched again and said, okay, let me go back in now. And then comes around, and then he heads back in for pass number 3. And maybe he did that, perhaps. Maybe the DoorDash driver got there even earlier. Maybe the DoorDash driver got there at 3:56-ish, and he saw them, and then he's like, okay, and then he pulls into that side street and then comes back, and then he goes into the complex, and then he travels behind 500 Queen Road, and then headlights are seen at 1127 at 357:27, and then he's westbound on Queen Road, turning north on the King at 358. So that's why he's only in the area for 56 seconds, but he did park for 30 seconds. So that's when he would have parked right around in there, and then the DoorDash driver could have been right there. And maybe they were already there. Man. I don't know how to make it more interesting for you guys for the, It's crazy. Hey, thanks Marine Co. for the PayPal. Let's see, we've got a... Hold on. 333.07. 330. New video shows car resembling Brian Koberger driving around the... That's the same video we've seen. Why you didn't need to send me that? We've seen that already. That's the one that's in the Dateline documentary. And we got Lisa Valenzuela coffee. Jeez. Yeah, it feels so, Anyways, he leaves at 3:58. I think the DoorDash driver was sitting there while he was there. And then at 3:59:04, he's on Willanta Drive heading south. While the DoorDash driver is sitting there because she press delivered at 3:59. But it appears that her key fob goes off at 3:59:46, 3:59:48, 3:59:41, and then, according to Dylan, at 4 o'clock, everybody was in their home. But then at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds, he'd already turned around and headed back. So likely doing that same kind of short trip back there, like I just showed you a minute ago. He probably, because of the DoorDash driver, came over here and then he turned around really quick and came back into the he was going to go in the area, but because the DoorDash driver is there, he did not go in, and then he drove around like this, and he makes his way over here, and that's what we see next. So, and then at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds, the Elantra is driving right here, coming back, but does not go into the complex. And then, probably because the DoorDash is still there, and the key fob goes off at 4 o'clock and 27 seconds, coming back to the car, and at 4 o'clock and 28 seconds. And so he drove by. Then at 4:01:30 and 43, the vehicle is spotted over here after it drives around, and it picks it up right there. And that's the shot where it's missing the front license plate. Yeah, we need. Let's try to get at least 7 more new channel memberships, you guys. All right. We need 7 more of those to reach the goal. We need let's see, 17 more coffees. That's going to be tough given tonight. Yeah, we need like 17 coffees just to reach the goal. I've been sitting in my garage. But anyways, because of the DoorDash driver, the suspect vehicle drove by like this, and its headlight, well, not its headlight, the vehicle drove by, and it shows that it's missing a front license plate, and they were able to get the precise model era, like between 2014 to 2016 White Elantra. Even though the 2011 to 2016 all kind of share a similar, you can trade, the windows can be used in all of those years. All right, so the vehicle drove around right there. Then, at 4:04:20, the headlights are seen northbound on Walanta Drive. Now it's coming back in. So we go back out. After driving all around, it took like 3 minutes or so to come back around, and then it's right there at 4:04:20. And then at 4:04:56, a vehicle matching the description of Vehicle 1 is seen heading southbound on King Road, turning east onto Queen Road. So now it's in 4:04:56. Now, Bill Thompson didn't state this part correctly. He said, oh, and then it came in, and then it did a U-turn, and then it's not what it did. And then at 4:05:31, he didn't even mention the Queen Road. It goes in behind 500 Queen Road, and it does a 3-point turn right back here. So it actually, the vehicle drives back here, does a 3-point turn, it pulls in, stops for like 10 seconds. I actually have it all written down in there. 500 Queen Road begins the 3-point turn at 4:05:31. Then 10 seconds later, the suspect vehicle parks in the parking lot in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52. He just stops. And then 11 seconds later, the suspect vehicle backs up at 4:05:52. And then at 4:06:09, the vehicle is westbound down King Road. Lights are visible on 1119 King Road. Vehicle is heading west, slowly descending. And we've shown that in some of these videos. I don't know which one has it. Maybe this one. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, am I walking in this one? Oh, weird. Maybe I do walk on this.
And if they throw
oh yeah, look at
miss it.
Yeah, these guys.
Idaho.
They wanted me to play beer pong. These guys.
There it is. This is what happened right before, right?
Crazy.
It's okay.
Come on.
It does look sort of fun.
What are you filming?
Yeah, I'm filming stuff for the Idaho.
Well, this will be good to film for.
There it is. This is what happened right before, right?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Your followers will love.
Then he threw something in it.
Yeah.
All you do is throw a dice up.
I think I
Oh, there
saw
it
it.
is.
Oh yeah.
I see it. I see
You
it.
hear what that's called?
I see it.
It's called a beeper. And if they throw it over and miss it, you can just toss it up to me as well. Thank you.
Isn't that crazy with these cameras? You can just look
Right,
around.
Good walk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But okay, I don't know.
I probably should have just sat around and had beers with them. Been more fun than sitting here saying, "Hey, can you guys help support the channel?" With 0 replies. Yep. It used to be right up there. You could see it, but it's gone. Anyways, let's see. I don't know if that's, let me, yeah, this is, that's it where he is right there. I think it's in that unit right there. G201 right up there. But anyways, I don't know where the, I mean, it's hard to find the exact ones. I have to edit these and alright guys, my last attempt for the night. If you're out there, if you guys could please help support the channel, that'd be fantastic. I work really hard to get all this stuff and make these videos, and I need your guys' support. If not, I guess it wasn't worth it. You know, it wasn't worthy, is what I meant. Alright, let's see. So we got the 40631. Like I was just saying, it does the U-turn. Then 40702, the Elantra is in the middle of the U-turn. So it actually does a U-turn at 40702. After it was here, it doesn't do a U-turn now. I'm not sure why. I just did what they said. But I put the words that they used in there. It never does a U-turn here. It does a 3-point turn. Thanks, this account. And then at 40728 travels behind 500 Queen Road, around the back for the last time, and then at 407, that's at 40728, and then it shows up at 40728 right there as it's coming in, and then at 40747 the headlights hit 1127, and that's when it parks. And then you could almost like insert the animation that I played earlier, and he goes in and kills everybody, comes out, and then at 420, well, here's some interesting stuff. Is like at 40747 the headlights of a vehicle are turning north onto Queen Road, briefly shine on the exterior 1127, and then I think it parks, purple is my estimate. The white Elantra parks behind the residence at 408, so 13 seconds after the headlights turn. And then at 412, Xana used TikTok, perhaps sending the message Queen on a video. She typed in Queen to somebody. And then at 417, it's actually like later in the 417, voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking. It's closer to like 417.50-ish. I'll just put that in there. And then at 418, I think he left the residence. And that's why at 419, Bethany calls Dylan, and Dylan answers the phone. And then at 420, Dylan calls Xana. And interestingly enough, see the green here? That's the time he's inside the house, or he's there ready to kill. So all of this stuff is done while he's still sitting there. Bethany calls Dylan. He's outside changing his clothes, etc. 420, Dylan calls Xana. Xana's not answering because she's been killed by Brian Kohberger. Then at 420:28, Dylan Mortensen calls Bethany Funk, and they talk for 41 seconds. So for the first 19 seconds of that phone call, Kohberger is still there, and then at 420 and 47 seconds, outside. And then he drives away at 420 and 47 seconds at a high rate of speed. So these three communications were made while Kohberger is still standing outside by his vehicle. Isn't that crazy? Huh? I don't know if that's the same Cali gal. And then at 421, Bethany Funk calls Xana. Then at 421:05, the headlights are seen south on Walanta Drive. So even at that time, there's been 4 attempts of communication, and he's right there now, leaving. And then at 4:21:50, Dylan Mortensen calls Madison. 4:22, Bethany Funk calls Ethan Chapin. 4:22:08, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. No one is answering. 4:22:11, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. I'm really confused right now. And then at 4:22:42, Dylan Mortensen to Kaylee. She says, Kaylee. And at 4:22:43, Dylan Mortensen to Kaylee. What's going on? And right now he's just driving around in those back rows behind there. And then 4:23, Bethany Funk outgoing message to Snapchat. Then 4:23:15, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Yeah, dude, what the F? 4:23:28, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Xana was wearing all black. And I think because on the phone call, she said that the person she saw was wearing all black, and then maybe Bethany thought that Dylan was talking about Xana. That's how I take that. And then at 4:23:33, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. I'm freaking out right now. And then 4:23:42, Dylan Mortensen responded to the black comment, and he goes, no, it's like a ski mask almost. And then Bethany Funk says, shut the F up, you know. And then 4:23:51, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Actually, then Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk, like he had something over his forehead and a little around his mouth. And then at 4:24, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. Bethany, I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. Then at 4:24:07, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. So am I. Then at 4:24:11, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. Phone is going to die. F. 4:24:14, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Come to my room. 4:24:22, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen. Run. And then 5 seconds later, down here. Dylan Mortensen then calls Ethan Chapin at 4:24:39. And then at 4:24:58, Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk. I'm scared though. Meaning I'm scared to run down there though. And then at 4:25:16, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen said, Bethany Funk to Dylan Mortensen, y'all, but it's better than being alone. And then at 4:27:11, Dylan Mortensen outgoing call to somebody. He might already be downstairs at this point. 4:27:30 a.m., Dylan Mortensen outgoing message. I'm sure law enforcement knows exactly when Dylan Mortensen made it downstairs. And then 4:27:40, Dylan Mortensen's outgoing message to Snapchat. 4:27:47, Dylan Mortensen calls Kaylee again. And you can tell that they're freaked out. They're trying to get a hold of people. That's why I just don't understand the idiots that keep caring about the amount of time it took. It doesn't matter. Kohberger killed them with a K-bar knife. They were dead. 4:27:47, Dylan Mortensen calls Kaylee. 4:28:44, Dylan Mortensen calls Xana. 4:28:50, Dylan runs to Bethany's room. So I guess that is the time. We got it. Dylan runs to Bethany's room and sees Xana laying on the floor in her room, feet towards the door, and I guess the time. So this is when I'm guessing the time. 4:29, Bethany Funk calls Madison. 4:30, Bethany Funk calls Madison. And I think I based it on how this is going here. Like Dylan, and then Bethany. Bethany calls Madison. 4:30, Bethany calls Kaylee. And 4:31, Bethany calls Kaylee. This is the time that Kohberger should be near Blaine, but he's not. And more like this one, though. 4:32:57, Dylan Mortensen texts Kaylee, please answer. 4:34, Bethany Funk accesses Snapchat. 4:37, Bethany Funk accesses Instagram. She's probably trying to see if any of them are communicating on there or something, trying to find some information without leaving her room. Then at 4:48, the blue are cast data. Highway 95 near Blaine, Idaho. Cast data. Kohberger's phone turns on using a VPN. You guys, we need 6 more channel memberships, all right? That'd be great. Thank you. At 4:50, the cast data follows Koberger's movements. And then at 5:20, Highway 195, he's near Johnson, Washington. And then the cast data, it followed his movements according to Dateline, Johnson, Washington. Then at 5:25, he drives, his camera is near, this is ping, let's see, this is visual sightings here. Drives by camera near Pullman, Washington at 5:25:29. And then at 5:25:30, vehicle spotted merging to Bishop from Johnson Avenue. And that's 13:30 is where the camera was, so I have the precise location. And then at 5:25:30, at 14:55 Bishop, they see the suspect vehicle. And then interestingly, the cast data puts the vehicle in the same area, matching that suspect vehicle 1 is that vehicle. And that's Koberger's phone, by the way, the blue here. And then 5:26:22, it's driving towards his house all the way up to 5:29. It's heading up through the neighborhood. And then at 5:30, the cast data shows his phone moving consistent with heading home. See, this is the parts that really are huge are where when cast data and the suspect vehicle marry up, like right here. See that? Cast data shows vehicle back near Pullman, and then lo and behold, there is a suspect vehicle 1. And then right here at 5:30, cast data shows it's heading home again, and there it is again on Northeast Stadium Way. All right, then at 6:17 in the morning, he talks to his father, but we've heard recently that may have been his mother. And 6:53, the call ended. I guess he called a couple times, though. And then 7:30, Bethany calls her dad. 8 o'clock, Bethany calls her dad. Bethany calls mother, another number, 8 also. Then 8:01, Bethany calls home. 8:02, Bethany calls mom. 8:05:43, Dylan begins using Instagram. 8:09, Dad calls Bethany. 8:41, Bethany starts taking photos. 8:42, Bethany stops taking photos. And then at 9 o'clock, Koberger's leaving his Northeast Valley Road. Cast data leaving the area of his residence at 9:04. Mom texts Bethany. That's at, so she's at home. At 9:04, she's at her residence. And then 9:12, the phone is in Moscow, Idaho. Koberger's phone. Cast shows the phone utilized the same resources as 1122 King Road. And look at this. Lo and behold, suspect vehicle 1 is spotted near the A&W, driving right here, like this. I mean, right there, okay? I mean, it's 0.4 miles from the house. And that's at 9:12:59. So again, you have the cast data and a visual sighting of a vehicle matching his in the same location at the same time. See, that's huge. Those are things that nobody ever talks about on any of these channels. And then at 9:21, near Moscow, Idaho, Cass showed the phone utilized the same resources as 1122 King Road. 9:32, returned to his residence. Cass returned to the area of his residence around 9:32. It doesn't mean he's home, it just means he's sort of right up in that area. And then at 10 o'clock, Dylan stops using Instagram. 10:56, Dylan starts message incoming, outgoing Snapchat. 10:01:40, Dylan ends Snapchat. Then at 10:01:53, Dylan is on Instagram. At 10:03:05, Dylan ends Instagram. At 10:03:30, Dylan is on Indeed. And she's only on Indeed for 32 seconds. Dylan exits Indeed. But apparently, oh my God, what's she doing on there? Oh my God, who cares, man? And then at 10:04:54, Dylan starts Snapchat communications. At 10:23:02, Dylan ends Snapchat communications. 10:23:23, Dylan texts Bethany. At 10:24:01, Dylan's on Instagram. At 10:25:04, Dylan exits Instagram. And then at 10:30:18, Dylan messages on Snapchat. Then at 10:31, Koberger is at his home, and he took that selfie image of him with his thumbs up. Then at 10:45:43, Dylan ends her Snapchat. Then at 10:56:49, Dylan Mortensen's on Instagram, messages on Snapchat. Then 11:21:53, somebody, JM texts Bethany Funk. And then at 11:29:08, Dylan Mortensen ends Snapchat. 11:29, Dylan Mortensen texts Kaylee Gonzalez again. 11:29, Dylan's on Instagram and Snapchat. Then 11:31, Koberger is near Lewiston and Clarkston, according to Dateline. And then at 11:32, Dylan is off Instagram and Snapchat. 11:35:36, Dylan is on Yik Yak. 11:36:07, Dylan is on TikTok. 11:37:36, messages Snapchat, probably Dylan again. 11:13, Dylan starts text with Dad. 11:40:14, Dylan ends text with Dad. 11:44:06, Dylan's on Instagram. 11:49, Bethany Funk calls JM. 11:13:20, and then 11:50:38, Dylan's off of Instagram. I guess 11:49, Bethany Funk calls JM, and then 11:50:38, Dylan's off of Instagram. 11:50:55, JM texts Dylan Mortensen. 11:50:58, Dylan calls EA, and then 11:51, JM texts Dylan. 11:51:07, Bethany Funk texts JM. 11:51:47, JM texts Bethany Funk. 11:53:52, Bethany Funk texts JM. 11:53:53, 1 second later, Bethany Funk texts JM. And 11:53:55, Bethany Funk texts JM. And then 11:54:39, Dylan Mortensen is on Instagram. 11:54:57, JM texts Bethany Funk 3 texts. 11:55:01, JM texts Bethany Funk 3 texts end. And then 11:56, Bethany Funk calls 911. And then it says right after, and then Bethany Funk calls 911, and then 1 minute later, Dylan Mortensen's on Instagram and off of Instagram. So I'm not sure if she's just like holding it in her hand, because Bethany Funk has the phone, and then that's where we get this one.
11:55 a.m.
But hey, you guys, what's going on tonight? Am I being punished for something, or I mean, it just feels so strange. I've never seen a night where I've had so little support. Where this is what we do on this channel. This is how we're able to do all the great stuff that we do. So I don't know. I feel strange.
42 seconds, November 13, 2022.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
Oh, Bethany. I didn't even know Bethany was engaged or anything.
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address? 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
Hey, thanks, True Crime Sushi, for the coffee.
731.
And also Adrian Peterson.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out.
I didn't ask you,
and
Ryan.
she was drunk last night and she's not waking
thanks,
up.
Lizzie. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is...
I mean, put a 1 if you wish the operator... I mean, she was doing what she was supposed to do, was get help, but put a 1 if you wish she had let Dylan finish that sentence. Because I do. I want to hear what her immediate thoughts were. You know, and we're never going to get to hear it.
Passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Bethany, you gotta go check.
Hey, thanks Lizzie Rob, Roger S, and American Lady for gifting a membership. We need 5 more gifted memberships.
But we have to.
This is where she said, but we have to go up there. You know, they had already been up there. Jack, no, not Jack, Hunter, the friend of Ethan, best friend of Ethan, he had already taken, before the 911 call, they had already been upstairs, they looked, and Hunter had already kind of gone to the room, and he saw something. I bet you he even saw blood and everything. And he just told the girls, get back, get back, get back, and they went downstairs. Then they called 911, and they pretty much did the same thing. Like, okay, we have to do it again, you know, and they go up there, and that's why we hear in here where he's like, get back, get back, get back, and they go downstairs again, because Dylan and Bethany never really went right in to look at Xana. And it sucks to have to get into that kind of detail to explain it, because you're trying to convince the nut jobs that really give a shit, like they think Dylan and Bethany are involved. Hey, thanks, NJ. All right, we need 4 more, 4 more.
Did you pass out?
Xana, Ethan.
She's passed out. What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay, 1 moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you. What's wrong?
That's Dylan breathing like that. Yeah, see, this time he went in slowly, and he probably even kind of like went down. He's like, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 here to
Okay.
them.
Hello?
Yeah, I've seen this guy in interviews. This is how he sounds. This is what he talks like.
Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Yeah, he says no because he knows, Hunter knows that they're all dead. He doesn't know Madison and Kaylee are, but he knows that Ethan and Xana are dead. They're not breathing. And by the way, I mean, he knows that they're both in there at this point because he says Ethan, Xana, and the operator at this point only thinks there's a Xana, or, you know, a girl that's passed out.
Okay.
Bethany, Dylan, I need you to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Okay. Hello?
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again? There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator?
Yep.
Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11.
Yeah, so that was the 911 call, and then at 11:57, Dylan Morton's, well, you know, that's all part of that. Like, she's just on Instagram and ended it during that call. Then 12:34, just a half hour later, an individual matching the description of Coburg enters the entrance at Costco. And then at 12:34, an individual matching the description of Coburg appears to be denied entry into Costco. And then the CAS data shows that he utilizes the same resources as Kate's Cup of Joe at 12:36, and then at 12:37, a vehicle matches description of vehicle 1 is seen traveling westbound through the Costco parking lot. So that just means like there's a cell tower there, and it's utilizing the same resources as Kate's Cup of Joe. That doesn't mean he's there at that time. And then 12:37, he drives through Costco, then he merges onto a street, then he heads up towards Kate's Cup of Joe, and that's where it's at 12:42, vehicle matching description of vehicle 1 travels westbound on Port Drive, turning north into Kate's Cup of Joe. So that's way down here. So this is just after the 911 call, ironically, like just right around that time. He's over here. I drove over here too, by the way. I have video of this whole thing. Hell, maybe that's one of the ones I pulled over. Let's see. Maybe I got... Is it that one? I don't know. No, that's not it. Not that one. I don't know where the Kate's Cup of Joe one I have to go find. That's not the one either. Jesus. I don't know. Yeah, we need 4 more coffees, or not coffees, memberships, you guys. Anyways, I'll just show it. So he was in here, and then he drives up there, and his phone utilizes the same resources as this Kate's Cup of Joe prior to that. And then it pulls in and does a U-turn. And then the camera on the chef store films it do the U-turn, and then it exits out and then heads this direction and then drives down into the Albertsons parking lot. And that would be down here where it says the vehicle matching description of vehicle 1 is seen traveling through the Albertsons parking lot. You actually see him get out of his car, walk in, go through inside the building, and then he's checking himself out at 12:56, or he checks out, I mean, and then at 12:58 he exits the Albertsons. 12:58:37 he returns to the area where his vehicle was parked, and then he sits there for 5 minutes or so, and then a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 heads south towards the parking lot exit to Bridge Street, which is out here, I think. I think that's Bridge Street. So so Albertsons parking lot, and then he goes out just like I have the green line, and we don't know where he went after that because they didn't mention anything. What we do know is that at 5:32 p.m. his phone then turns on again near Johnson, Washington for 4 minutes. So somehow, all those hours later, he's right over here, and he turns his phone on for 4 minutes. And then his phone turned on again at 4:30 or 8:30, I mean. So for those 4 minutes it was on, then off again, I think. And then it turned back on at 8:30. His phone is back on the network. And then so this is on 11:13. Then 11:15, an edged weapon is mentioned in an NBC article. Also on 11:15, Koberger looked to purchase another K-bar knife. And then on 11:16, the actual K-bar knife was mentioned in the papers. So he's trying to buy this stuff before it even mentions the K-bar in the paper. And then 11:16, he Googled murders for the first time, the actual murders, for the first time, watching The Perfect Killing Machine by Ted Bundy. Then on 11:18, This is 5 days after the homicide. Koberger registered his vehicle in Washington and got his new plates. And then on 11/22 on Amazon, he navigated to pages related to the deletion of account activity after he also looked to buy a utility sheath or a K-bar leather sheath and almost bought it, but he didn't. Then 11/25, Moscow Police Department asked local law enforcement agent. Let me get rid of this. I'm not sure why I'm just playing this in the background. It's not doing anything. I'm screaming. 11/25, Moscow Police Department asked the local law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for the white Hyundai Elantras. And then 11/29, two different officers, 30 minutes apart, not 10 minutes, as people say. Officer Daniel Tiengo located a white Elantra that was Brian Koberger's, and then 30 minutes later, another officer on the Pullman campus over there noticed this vehicle as well. Then at 11:30, Papa Roger, he mentioned the sheath. So there's Papa Rogers on Facebook mentioned the sheath. He actually mentioned, he didn't mention the sheath, he mentioned, well, he said they must have found the sheath, right. And actually, reasonable logic there to do that, or it's Koberger as well. We don't actually know yet, but sounds like it could be Koberger is Papa Roger. Then on 12/5, he got his new plates. I guess that's when he got them, but he registered before. And then 12/6/2022, on Amazon, he almost purchased a K-bar knife. I think he actually hit the buy button, but then canceled out of it. And then at 12/15/2022, that's when they were on a trip to Pullman to Pennsylvania with father. Koberger was pulled over twice in a really short amount of time. And then at 12/16/2022, he arrived at his parents' house in Albrightsville. 12/19, Koberger was fired. 12/27/2022, the police recovered trash from Koberger's residence, and a DNA sample was determined to be Brian Koberger's father. 12:30, at 1:45, Koberger was arrested and taken into custody. And by the way, he was sitting in his living room with gloves on, separating the trash. All right. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for me, guys. Long, disappointing evening. Just really, really crazy. Never seen anything like it. Let's see. But hopefully you guys thought it was interesting. Because that was the whole time. I mean, there's other little timeline things you could probably throw in there, but that's what I've got so far. But I mean, it just kind of tells you the whole story. It's right there. Simple. Anyways, thanks to Laura, J-Love, Jessica Schubach gifted a membership, Mallory Beavers, Dane Crawford, Austin Huber, Jim Lawn, Laney Carter, Derek Sherman gifted 5, then M10 gifted 5, and we just had these massive, huge lulls, Mallory Beavers, and then we had M10, Ann Taylor Fan Club, Curly Lock Diva again, the gifted one in Super Chat, then Kit Kat, this account, Curly Lock Diva, PJ, Millennial, Roger S, this account, Back Pain Forever, Lizzie Rob, Roger S, American Lady, and NGA Elaine, and then we had True Crime Sushi with the coffee, then we had Marine Co. and Adrian on PayPal, and then we had Lisa Valenzuela. Man, I really wanted to just get to that was the lowest minimum goal would have been those 4 channel members. That would have got us to, I don't donate the 5 memberships, but at least it's like, oh well, I guess some nights are just that way. BK is a malignant narcissist. We don't know. I think he's I don't think he's a narcissist. I think he's a psychopath. I think that narcissist is way overused by people. They just, everybody's a narcissist. I think it's, he's a psychopath. And he may even have some, maybe he does have some autistic traits of some sort. I don't know, but he looked to me in the court hearings recently like Adam Lanza, like just totally weird looking. Yeah. Boy, it's just been a barrel of fun tonight, you guys. You guys are really chatting up a storm. Really fun, really interesting. Maybe going over timelines isn't really the best thing to do. It bores people to death. You have to have like drama and some sort of conspiracy theory, then everybody gets excited. Anyways, thanks for watching tonight, you guys. I guess we'll see you next time. And everybody have a great 4th of July tomorrow. Eat some of that apple pie, the hot dogs, maybe a hamburger here and there, All right. And be safe driving around. A lot of nut jobs out there. And that's actually a scary holiday considering the Iranian sleeper cells around. So make sure you're observant out there, all right? You just don't know. This is one of those dates, though, that they might pick something. All right? And thanks, everybody who helped support the channel tonight. Didn't make the goal for the first time this month. Hope it's not a continuing thing, but the flow tonight, that's the feeling it has. Like, oh man, this is good. We're gonna do this again. Really struggle, like when I say, hey everybody, you can help support the channel, and not a soul does. That's kind of a crappy feeling, How do I avoid that? It's just, yeah. And some days are better than others. Keep streaming because better day. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Maybe. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. We'll see you later. Have a good 4th. And until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen
we've got
one person that is a crime dissector. Like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector.
Okay, hold on. Who's this Christy M? No pro burgers on the grill. Don't be a bully. Are you a bully, Christy? Are you bullying people? Wait, come on. Who are you bullying, Christy? What's happening? I know you're admitting that because you said no pro burgers on the grill. Are you talking about bullying pro burgers? Or is that what you're doing? Go ahead. We're just waiting for a response. You're so interesting. Go ahead. Tell us what you mean, Christy M. Yeah, no, it isn't, babe. I've been doing shows a long time. It's really just about if something's interesting to people, they support it. Just like yesterday, the day before. I'm just trying to... I don't know what the magic sauce is. No, what are you talking about, though, Christy M, when you said that? Your last sentence. What did that mean? Who were you referring to? Yeah, I know she's calling him out, but the one that we removed doesn't do that, wall bongs. Dude. What an idiot. Jesus. Let's see. And where'd you come from, wall bongs? Never seen you all night long, but you jump in when there's a comment made. You hadn't made one comment all night. Yeah, we don't know what he's going to enjoy. Koberger's a strange person. We don't know. He seems void of normal thought. So it's hard to know if he'll be enjoying something. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. You know, I've noticed that lately is the trolls come in right at the end of the show and they try to sneak in comments. And when we don't have a lot of the mods here, they get through. It's sort of like in Israel when they were trying to shoot down the Iranian missiles. They didn't get them all, you know. Our Iron Dome doesn't work when the mods aren't here. Yeah, you too. I'm gonna get rid of this Walbong idiot. Never seen him before in my life. Have a good one. Alright, let's see. I made a big pot of crow stew for them. Yeah, it should taste pretty good. Or maybe I'll just remove their comment. I don't have to block them. Aren't blamed on autism. I just hope his psychopathic ways aren't blamed on autism. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah. She's calling them out, dude. Well, not when she said, poor pro burgers, no pro burgers on the grill. Don't be a bully. Who are you talking to? The pro burgers? Let's see. The Golden Dome. That's ours. That's what we're building. The Golden Dome. Yep. It's going to be sweet. And by the way, just for the hell of it, I just want to let you know the stuff that in political realms that the Democratic political people are saying about the bill that was just passed today, it's bullshit. Okay? They always do this. Oh, the world's coming to an end. It's going to destroy this and it's going to destroy that. You just watch. Watch your paychecks. Watch what the economy does. They're wrong. This is just what they do. Russia. You know, blah, blah, blah. It's garbage. All right? So everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it, everybody. It's going to be great. And that's it. See you later. Till next time, be safe. Whew. Wow, what a crazy.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time,
I'm gonna.
I've not seen
It's
one person.
It's already way better.
That is
Ryan. You're gonna be
crime
embarrassed.
dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get
I don't know.
on a stretcher.
Who are you,
if try
Dr.
and play me
Professor
like
S?
an
You haven't
old
even been here all night.
projector. Crime sector is my nectar.
All these
Professor
people
Gray is
just
gonna
pop
give
up at the end of
another
the show.
lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check.
Yeah, people are dying because the bill was passed.
And I'll serve it to you straight out of the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
People are
Yeah, so
dying
just get right
because
back
of
to
the
work.
bill.
All right,
Give me a
everybody.
break. Man. Yes, I don't like, here, I'll tell you this. I don't want to increase our debt, okay? I don't like doing that. Okay, but maybe this time the slight increase the production level will increase the income to the federal government will actually make up the difference. I mean, I don't know, but whenever the Democrats boost the trillions of dollars of extra spending, it's okay because it's for a good reason. All right? Why can't it be okay when anybody does it if you're doing it for something good? Yanked from health. Shut the hell. Listen, Ryan, you're nuts, okay? You're a crazy person. You are a crazy person. It's not happening.